Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom.
There's this notion that making money is evil.
What's
It's like
cracking? How
rooted
you
all the way back down to money's the root of all evil. People think that bankers steal our money. And, you know, it's somewhat true in that in a lot of the world, there's a lot of theft going on all the time. The history of the world, in some sense, is this predator-prey relationship with keepers and takers. There are people who go out and create things and build things and work hard on things, and then there are people who come along and feed with a sword or a gun or taxes or crony capitalism or communism.
New studio, then you finish building.
To steal. Even in nature, there are more parasites than there are non-parasitical organisms. You have a ton of parasites in you who are living off of you, and the better ones are symbiotic and giving something back, but there are a lot that are just taking. That's just the nature of how any complex system is built. But what I am basically focused on is true wealth creation. There's all these different methods to steal, methods to steal, methods to steal. There's all these different methods to steal true wealth creation. There's all these different methods to steal. It's not about taking money, it's not about taking something from somebody else, but it's from creating abundance. Obviously, there's not a finite number of jobs or a finite amount of wealth. Otherwise, we would still be sitting around in caves, figuring out how to divide up pieces of firewood and, you know, the occasional dead deer. Most of
Man. How about that? See, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. So, do I need to repeat all that? Did anyone hear anything? It's very nice that you tell me what's going on. I don't know what I would do without you. This is what I'm saying. It is not set up for streaming in this place that I am currently at all. But the new place is going to be set up for streaming. It's going to be set up for streaming multiple kinds of streams, DJ streams, live soundtracking streams, conversation streams, podcast streams, whatever sorts of streams, playing Pikmin streams, you know what I mean? Making records streams, making joint streams. By the way, when Naval there, you saying he was mad loud, that record, did the music sound... Was it just louder, way louder than me, obviously? Or was it like peaking or something? Let me know. Because we're going to be listening to that album. That's why we've done this. I was talking to my wife earlier. I said, shit, I wish the new studio was finished so we could do a live stream. Because it would be really nice to play... Oh, fucking hell. I just noticed that the thumbnail says 2 and 3. It should say 1 and 2. See, this is what happens if I'm like too busy doing stuff. 1 and 2. I gotta repost this now. Anyway, I was saying, we should really, you know, be playing the first 2 before the new one, you know, because the new one's coming out tonight. We're having a live premiere at 9 p.m. EST. Did you know? Did you know? It's finally happening. Anyway, and my wife was like, "Just do it. Just make it work. You know, it'll be nice." And I said, "You're right." She said, "Stop overthinking." I said, "You're right." So I was all like, overthinking, you know. Anyway, so that's what we're going to do. We're going to listen to 1 and 2. We're going to listen to 1 and 2 ahead of 3. That's what we're doing. We're listening to 1 and 2 ahead of 3. And that would be nice because we'll be able to hear, you know, how far we've come, which is always interesting. You know what I mean? We'll be able to hear where we've come from and where we're at. You know what I mean? How can you know where you are if you don't know where you come from? I'm trying to post thumbnails at the same time as talking. There you go. I've updated a thumbnail. Hurrah! Now, X says, the level was too loud for the Naval player. Was it? Okay. That'll be fun to deal with. Well, anyway, we'll deal with that at the time. But as you can see, anyway, up here on the screen, it is how long to go until the album droppeth? 3 hours? Is it really 3 hours? It drops at 9 p.m. EST. Well, it doesn't drop. It premieres here at 9 p.m. EST. And we'll all be listening to it together. And Naval's going to come and hang out. How about that? Isn't that nice? He's asleep right now. He's going to wake up and come hang out. It's going to be nice. Shout out to everyone locked in. How are you all doing? What up, Billy Idol? What up, Bleat Llama? What up, Chris Champagne? What up, Ruben? Sheila, what's up? Logan, what's up? XX, what's up? Jeff, what's up? Shout out to everybody locked in. It's lovely to see you, Austin, Justin, Chad, all of you all. This is going to be a ride, says Chad. Yeah, it is. It is. We're going to go on a ride. Because the first one, correct me if I'm wrong, didn't it come out in 2018? Or was it 2019? It was 2019, wasn't it? How to Get Rich Volume 1 came out in 2019, I do believe. I do believe that's the case. And then How to Get Rich Volume 2 came out in 2021. And How to Get Rich Volume 3 came out in 23. That's 2 years between each. And that basically spans the life. Is that 2 years between each? Is my math wrong? I thought MEANINGWAVE was 5 years old. How's that even possible? 2 plus 2 plus 2 is 6. I guess it's 6. It is 6. Yeah, anyway. See what I'm saying? So we'll be able to track not only the context of the whole record and the whole Naval How to Get Rich context, we'll also be able to see how the music has progressed, how the MEANINGWAVE psychotechnology has, progressed, grown, expanded. Jeff says 2018. The album came out in 2019. MEANINGWAVE was invented in 2018, wasn't it? Yeah, here we are. We're in the future. Well, it was finally at the point now that feels like a while ago. XX says it's going on 6 years now. Quick math. Quick math. Yeah. Austin says Naval loud af. He's loud af. We got a couple new emojis for the members. There's a couple new emojis. And there's more emojis coming. It's going to be all new emojis. By the time we're streaming from the new studio, it's all going to be all new everything. You know what I mean? It's going to be all new everything. New stuff. My keyboard arrived today. I've been using this little guy, this little keyboard, ever since I left Texas to go and get my visa, which was supposed to take like a month or something. I took this and a laptop, and this has been what I've been making all the music with. This little guy here. I have not had a full-size keyboard since we left Texas. Well, a full-size keyboard arrived today. Fits perfectly in my new studio desk, which is next door, waiting to move into the new studio. It is a full-range keyboard. I will be able to play low notes and high notes at the same time. What will this do to MEANINGWAVE? I do not know. But I am excited to find out what that will do to MEANINGWAVE. You know what I mean? What a B! Says Akita, the panty dropper. Akita. It is I up in the place. Today, what did I do this morning? I went to the gym this morning. I'm upping the ante. Not only am I going to CrossFit 5 nights a week, I'm now also going into the gym in the morning 2 days a week for personal instruction with Yago. And today I learned how to go into a handstand. Normally I kind of like chuck my hands down and launch myself, you know? Today I learned how to get into a handstand from a bench, from a plancha, from the position of la plancha, right? Which is pretty cool. You sort of down in the plancha, and then you kick one of your legs, and then you bring your whole self up like that. And then, so that was pretty cool. That's what I was doing at 9 o'clock this morning, you know? And now here we are. So, without further delay, because we want to, these are long albums. Album number 1. How long is album number 1? How to Get Rich Volume 1. How long is it? I believe it's an hour and 25 minutes long. That's a long album. You know what I mean? Volume 2 is similar. I don't know how long Volume 3 is. Let me have a look. I know because I've got it. I've heard it. Oh. I don't know right now. We'll find out later. But anyway, you know, it's a journey, baby. It's a journey. So let's do it. Let's listen to it together. You know what I mean? Let's listen to it together. Text your mom, ring the homies, all that. Let them know it's happening. We're having a nice little listening party. And yeah, make some noise for yourselves. Look at me with no sound effects. Isn't that crazy?
knows that they want to be wealthy.
Let me know if the sound is cool
But
or
they
not
don't have
cool.
a good set of principles to do it by. Wealth is the thing that you really want.
Akira. He's got clout.
Wealth is assets that earn while you sleep. Wealth is the factory with the robots that's cranking out things. Wealth is the computer program that's running at night that's serving other customers. Wealth is even money in the bank that is being reinvested into other assets and into other businesses. Even a house can be a form of wealth because you can rent it out. Wealth is businesses and assets that can earn while you sleep. Wealth is the factory with the robots that's cranking out things. Wealth is the computer program that's running at night that's serving other customers. Wealth is even money in the bank that's being reinvested into other assets and into other businesses. Even a house can be a form of wealth because you can rent it out. Wealth is businesses and and rush to work and sit in commute traffic. So you don't have to waste away your entire life grinding all the productive hours away to a soulless job that doesn't fulfill you. It's really just so that you are your own sovereign individual. You're not going to get that unless you really want it. And the entire world wants it. And the entire world is working hard at it. And to some extent it is competitive. It's a positive sum game, but there are competitive elements to it. Because there's a finite amount of resources right now in society, and to get the resources to do what you want, you have to stand out. Money is how we transfer wealth. Money is social credits. It is the ability to have credits and debits on other people's time. If I do my job right, if I create value for society, society says, oh, thank you, we owe you something in the future for the work that you did in the past. Here's a little IOU, let's call that money. Wealth is businesses and assets that can earn while you sleep. Wealth is businesses and assets that can earn while you sleep. There are fundamentally two huge games in life that people play. One is the money game, because money is not going to solve all your problems, but it's going to solve all your money problems. People know that. They realize that, so they want to make money. But at the same time, many of them deep down believe that they can't make it. They don't want any wealth creation to happen. They sort of virtue signal by attacking the whole enterprise by saying, well, making money is evil and you shouldn't do it, blah, blah, blah. They're actually playing the other game, which is a status game. They're trying to be high status in the eyes of other people watching. Status is just your ranking in the social hierarchy. Status is just your ranking in the social hierarchy. So wealth is not a zero-sum game. Everybody in the world can have a house. Because you have a house doesn't take away from my ability to have a house. If anything, the more houses that are built, the easier it becomes to build houses. The more we know about building houses, the more people that can have houses. So wealth is a very positive sum game. Status, on the other hand, is a zero-sum game. It's a very old game. We've been playing it since monkey tribes, and it's hierarchical. Who's number one, who's number two, who's number three. And for number three to move to number two has to move out of that slot. So status is a zero-sum game. Politics is an example of a status game. Even sports is an example of a status game. To be the winner, there must be a loser. I don't fundamentally love status games. They play an important role in our society, so we figure out who's in charge. But fundamentally, you play them because they're a necessary evil. Wealth is businesses and assets that can earn while you sleep. Wealth is businesses and assets that can earn while you sleep. But really the reason you want wealth is because it buys you freedom. The purpose of wealth is freedom. Wealth is wealth is
Yeah, wow. That's right, Blair. Shouts out to Blair singing right there. Nice. Shouts out to everybody locked in. What up, Full Killer? What up,
But there's
Logan?
always a subtle competition going on between status and wealth. For example, when journalists attack rich people, they're really
Smash
bidding
that
for
like, you
status.
bad
They're
mama
saying,
jamma.
no, the people are more important, and I, the journalist, represents the people, and therefore I am more important. The problem is that by playing these status games, to win at a status game, you have to put somebody else down. That's why you should avoid status games in your life, because they make you into an angry, combative person. You're always fighting to put other people down, to put yourself and the people that you like up. Just realize that most of the times when you're trying to create wealth, you're actually getting attacked by someone else, and they're trying to look like a goody two-shoes, but really what they're doing is they're trying to up their own status at your expense. They're just playing a different game, and it's a worse game. It's a zero-sum game instead of a positive-sum game.
That's right, baby. Shouts out to that trumpet. Ooh wee!
He's got clout.
How I Get Rich Volume 1. Live listening session ahead of Volume 3.
Notion that making money is evil. It's like rooted all the way back down to money is the root of all evil. People think that the bankers steal our money. And, it's somewhat true in that in a lot of the world, there's a lot of theft going on all the time. The history of the world, in some sense, is this predator-prey relationship between makers and takers. There are people who go out and create things and build things and work hard on things, and then there are people who come along and feed with a sword or a gun or taxes or crony capitalism or communism. There's all these different methods to steal. Even in nature, there are more parasites than there are non-parasitical organisms. You have a ton of parasites in you who are living off of you, and the better ones are symbiotic and giving something back, but there are a lot that are just taking. That's just the nature of how any complex system is built. But what I am basically focused on is true wealth creation. There's all these different methods to steal, methods to steal, methods to steal. There's all these different methods to steal. True wealth creation. There's all these different methods to steal. It's not about taking money, it's not about taking something from somebody else, but it's from creating abundance. Obviously, there's not a finite number of jobs or a finite amount of wealth. Otherwise, we would still be sitting around in caves, figuring out how to divide up pieces of firewood and, the occasional dead deer. Most of the wealth in civilization, in fact, not most, basically all of it has been created. And it got created from somewhere. It got created from people. It got created from technology. It got created from productivity. It got created from hard work. So this idea that it's stolen is, I think, this horrible zero-sum game that people who are trying to gain status play. But the reality is, everyone can be rich. We can see that by seeing that in the first world, everyone is basically richer than almost anyone who was alive 200 years ago. 200 years ago, nobody had antibiotics, nobody had cars, nobody had electricity. So all of these things are inventions that have made us wealthier as a species. Today, I would rather be a poor person in a first world country than be a rich person in Louis XIV's France. And that's just because of wealth creation. True wealth creation. Everyone can be rich. Can be rich. Can be rich. Everybody can be wealthy. True wealth creation. Everyone can be rich. It's not about taking money. It's not about taking something from somebody else, but it's from creating abundance. The engine of technology is science that is applied for the purpose of creating abundance. I think fundamentally everybody can be wealthy. And the thought experiment I want you to think through is, imagine if everybody had the knowledge of a good software engineer and a good hardware engineer. If you could go out there and you could build robots and computers and bridges and program them, let's say every human knew how to do that. What do you think society would look like in 20 years? My guess is what would happen is we would build robots, machines, software and hardware to do everything, and we would all be living in massive abundance. We would essentially be retired in the sense that none of us would have to work for any of the basics. We'd even have robotic nurses, machine-driven hospitals. We'd have self-driving cars. We'd have farms that are 100% automated. We'd have clean energy. At that point, we could use technology breakthroughs to get everything that we wanted. And if anyone is still working at that point, they're working as a form of expressing their creativity, okay? Because it's in them to contribute and to build and design things. So I don't think capitalism is evil. Capitalism is actually good. It's just that it gets hijacked. It gets hijacked by improper pricing of externalities, by improper deals where you basically have corruption or you have monopolies. True wealth creation. Everyone can be rich. Can be rich. Can be rich. Everybody can be wealthy. True wealth creation. Everyone can be rich. It's not about taking money. It's not about taking something from somebody else, but it's from creating abundance.
What's up? Shout out to everyone who logged in live. We're listening to How to Get Rich Volume 1 with Naval. Volume 3 drops tonight, 9 p.m. EST. Naval's going to be here with us. We're going to listen to it together. It's going to be great. What up, Igor? What up, why not? Tony. Shout out to everybody logged in.
Overall, capitalism is intrinsic to the human species. Capitalism is not something we invented. Capitalism is not even something we discovered. It is innate to us in every exchange that we have. When you and I exchange information, I want some information back from you, I give you information, you give me information. If we weren't having a good information exchange, you'd go talk to somebody else. So the notion of exchange and keeping track of credits and debits, this is built into us as flexible social animals. We are the only animals in the animal kingdom that cooperate across genetic boundaries. Most animals don't even cooperate. But when they do, they cooperate only in packs where they co-evolve together and they share blood, so they have some shared interest. Humans don't have that. Humans don't have that.
We're listening to, what is it? Can't see it. We're listening to How
I can cooperate with you guys. One of you is a Serbian, the other one is a Persian by origin, I'm Indian by origin. We have very little blood in common, basically none, but we still cooperate. And what lets us cooperate? It's because we can keep track of debits and credits, who put in how much work, who contributed how much. That's all free market capitalism is. So I strongly believe that it is innate to the human species, and we are going to create more and more wealth and abundance for everybody. Everybody can be wealthy, everybody can be retired, everybody can be successful. It is merely a question of education and desire. You have to want it. Everybody can be wealthy, everybody can be retired, everybody can be successful. It is merely a question of education and desire. You have to want it. If you don't want it, that's fine, then you opt out of the game. But don't try and put down the people.
The answers to your questions are coming, Forward Balls. All the answers to your questions are coming.
Because that's the game that keeps you in a comfortable, warm bed at night. That's the game that keeps a roof over your head. That's the game that keeps your supermarket stocked. That's the game that keeps the iPhone buzzing in your pocket. It is a beautiful game that is worth playing ethically, rationally, morally, socially for the human race, and it's going to continue to make us all richer and richer until we have massive wealth creation for anybody who wants it. The US is a very popular country for immigrants because it's the American dream. Anyone can come here pretty poor and then work really hard and make money and get wealthy. The definition of wealth is different for different people. A first world citizen's definition of wealth might be, I have to make millions of dollars and I'm completely done. Whereas to a third world poor immigrant just entering the country, and we were poor immigrants who came here when I was fairly young, wealth may just be a much lower number. It may just be that I don't have to work a manual labor job for the rest of my life that I don't want to work. But groups that despise it will essentially bring the entire group down to that level. If you get too many takers and not enough makers, society falls apart. Everybody can be wealthy, everybody can be retired, everybody can be successful. It is merely a question of education and desire. You have to want it. Everybody can be wealthy, everybody can be retired, everybody can be successful. It is merely a question of education and desire. You have to want it. You end up with a communist country. Look at Venezuela, right? They were so busy taking and dividing and reallocating that people are literally starving in the streets and losing kilograms of body weight every year just through sheer starvation. Another way to think about it is imagine an organism that has too many parasites. You actually need some small number of parasites to stay healthy, and you need a lot of symbiotes, like all the mitochondria in all of our cells that help us respirate and burn oxygen. These are symbiotes that help us survive. We couldn't survive without them. But to me, those are partners in the wealth creation that creates the human body. But if you just were filled with parasites that were purely parasitical, you would die. You would die. Any organism can only withstand a small number of parasites. And when the parasitic element gets too far out of control, you die.
Yikes.
Everybody can be wealthy. Everybody can be retired. Everybody can be successful. It is merely a question of education and desire. You have to want it.
Strangest Secret, the album coming soon.
Everybody can be retired. Everybody can be successful. It is merely a question of education and desire. You have to want it.
You gotta believe it.
I'm talking about ethical wealth creation. I'm not talking about monopolies. I'm not talking about crony capitalism. I'm not talking about mispriced externalities like the environment. I'm talking about free minds and free markets. Small-scale exchange between humans is voluntary and doesn't have an outsized impact on others. But I think that kind of wealth creation, if a society does not respect it, if a group does not respect it, that society will plunge into ruin and darkness.
How to Get Rich Volume 1, you're listening live ahead of the release of How to Get Rich Volume 3, coming tonight. Premiere at 9 p.m. EST.
We want to be wealthy, and we want to get there in this lifetime without having to rely on luck. A lot of people think making money is about luck. It's not. A lot of people think making money is about luck.
It's not.
A lot of people think making money is about luck. It's not. It's about becoming the kind of person that makes money. A lot of people think making money is about luck. It's not.
Spoiler
A lot
alert.
of people think making money is about luck. It's not. A lot of people think making money is about luck. It's not. It's about becoming the kind of person that makes money. You know, I like to think that if I lost all my money and if you dropped me on a random street in any English-speaking country, within 5 to 10 years, I'd be wealthy again.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's just a skill set that I've developed and I think anyone can develop. You know, in 1,000 parallel universes, you want to be wealthy in 999 of them. You don't want to be wealthy in the 50 of them where you got lucky. So we want to factor luck out of it. There's really 4 kinds of luck. Blind luck, where I just got lucky because something completely out of my control happened. It's fortune, that's fate, etc. Then there's luck that kind of comes through persistence, hard work, hustle, motion, which is when you're just running around creating lots of opportunities, you're generating a lot of energy, you're doing a lot of things. Lots of things will just get stirred up in the dust. It's almost like mixing a petri dish and seeing what combines, or mixing a bunch of reagents and seeing what combines. You're just generating enough force and hustle and energy that luck will sort of find you. A third way is that you just become very good at spotting luck. So if you are very skilled in a field, you will notice when a lucky break happens in that field when other people who aren't attuned to it won't notice. So you become sensitive to luck, and that's through skill and knowledge and work. People think making money is about luck. It's not. A lot of people think making money is about luck. It's not. A lot of people think making money is about luck. It's not. It's about becoming the kind of person that makes money. A lot of people think making money is about luck. It's not. A lot of people think making money is about luck. It's not. A lot of people think making money is about luck. It's not. It's about becoming the kind of person that makes money. And then the last kind of luck is the weirdest, hardest kind, but that's what we want to talk about, which is where you build a unique character, a unique brand, a unique mindset, where then luck finds you. Luck finds you. For example, let's say that you're the best person in the world at deep sea underwater diving, and you're known to like take on deep sea underwater dives that nobody else will even attempt to dare. And then by sheer luck, somebody finds a sunken treasure ship off the coast they can't get at. Well, their luck just became your luck, because they're going to come to you to get that treasure and you're going to get paid for it. Now that's an extreme example, but it's just showing how like the person who got lucky by finding the treasure chest, that was blind luck. But them coming to you and asking you to extract it and having to give you half, that's not luck. You kind of created your own luck. You put yourself in a position to be able to capitalize on that luck, or to attract that luck when nobody else has created that opportunity for themselves. A lot of people think making money is about luck. It's not. A lot of people think making money is about luck. It's not. A lot of people think making money is about luck. It's not. It's about becoming the kind of person that makes money. A lot of people think making money is about luck. It's not. A lot of people think making money is about luck. It's not. A lot of people think making money is about luck. It's not. It's about becoming the kind of person that makes money. When we talk about without getting lucky, we want to be deterministic. We don't want to leave it to chance. I don't think it's impossible. I think that you may have to work a little bit harder at it given your starting circumstances. I mean, remember, I started as a poor kid in India, right? So if I can make it, anybody can. Now, obviously, I had all my limbs and I had my mental faculties and I did have an education. So there are some prerequisites you can't get past. But if you're listening to this, you probably have the requisite means at your disposal, which is a functioning body and a functioning mind. And I've encountered plenty of bad luck along the way. First little fortune that I made, I instantly lost in the stock market. The second, I got cheated by my business partners. It's only the third time around has been a charm, and even then, it has been a slow and steady struggle. I haven't made money in my life in one giant payout. It's always been a whole bunch of small things kind of piling up. So it's more about consistently creating wealth by creating businesses and creating opportunities and creating investments. It hasn't been like a giant one-off thing. My personal wealth has not been generated by one big year. It just sort of stacks up little bit chips at a time. More options, more businesses, more investments, more things I can do.
More life.
It's going to be a long lifetime of learning, of reading, of creating. That's just going to compound. People think making money is about luck. It's not. What? A lot of people think making money is about luck. It's not. A lot of people think making money is about luck. It's not. It's about becoming the kind of person that makes money. A lot of people think making money is about luck. It's not. A lot of people think making money is about luck. It's not. A lot of people think making money is about luck. It's not. It's about becoming the kind of person that makes money. So we're talking about getting wealthy so you can retire. So you have your freedom. Not retire in the sense that you don't do anything, but in the sense that you don't have to be any place you don't want to be. You don't have to do anything you don't want to do. And you can wake up when you want. You can sleep when you want. You don't have a boss. That's freedom. So we're talking about enough wealth to get to freedom. And especially thanks to the internet these days, those opportunities are massively abundant. I, in fact, have too many ways to make money. I don't have enough time. I literally have opportunities pouring out of my ears, and the thing I keep running out of is time. There's just so many ways to create wealth, to create products, to create businesses, to create opportunities, and to, as a byproduct, get paid by society that I just can't even handle it all.
I Get Rich Volume 1. Naval and the Don. Listening ahead of Volume 3. Coming tonight. Shouts out to everybody locked in live. What's up, Bushido Pirate Crew? What up, content?
I think it's pretty interesting that the first three kinds of luck, there are very common cliches for them that everybody knows.
Shouts out to Nivy.
And then for that last kind of luck that comes to you out of the unique way that you act, there's no real cliche for it. For the first three kinds, there's dumb luck or blind luck. The second kind of luck, there's the cliche that fortune favors the bold. The third kind of luck, people say that chance favors the prepared mind. But for the fourth kind of luck, there is not really a common cliche out there that matches the unique character of your action, which I think is interesting and perhaps an opportunity. And it also just shows that people aren't necessarily taking advantage of that kind of luck the way they should be.
I
I think also at that point, it starts becoming so deterministic that it stops being luck. So the definition starts fading from luck to destiny. You build your character in a certain way, and then your character becomes your destiny. Luck to destiny.
Whoa!
Luck to destiny.
Whoa!
One of the things I think that is important to making money, you want the kind of reputation that makes people do deals through you. If you're a great diver, then treasure hunters will come and give you a piece of treasure for your diving skills. If you're a trusted, reliable, high integrity, long-term thinking deal maker, then when other people want to do deals, but they don't know how to do them in a trustworthy manner with strangers, they will literally approach you and give you a cut of the deal or offer you a unique deal just because of the integrity and reputation that you built up. You build your character in a certain way, and then your character becomes your destiny. Luck to destiny. Luck to destiny. You build your character in a certain way, and then your character becomes your destiny. Luck to destiny. Luck to destiny. Your character, your reputation, these are things that you can build that then will let you take out advantages of opportunities that other people may characterize as lucky, but you know that it wasn't luck. But you know that it wasn't luck. Your character becomes your destiny. Your character becomes your destiny. The world is a very efficient place, so everyone has dug through all the obvious places to dig. And so to find something that's new and novel and uncovered, it helps to be operating on a frontier. You have to be a little eccentric to be out on the frontier by yourself. And then you just have to be willing to dig deeper than other people do, deeper than seems irrational just because you're interested. You build your character in a certain way, and then your character becomes your destiny.
Luck to destiny.
Luck to destiny.
How to Get Rich Volume 1.
In a certain way, and then your character becomes your destiny. Luck to destiny. Luck.
MEANINGWAVE 2019.
To destiny. You build your character in a certain way, and then your character becomes your destiny.
Yo, that 2019 MEANINGWAVE sound, that golden sound. How to Get Rich Volume 1, Volume 2. Coming up shortly, Volume 3 premiering tonight. Naval's going to be in the building. We're going to be hanging out, listening to the record. It's going to be beautiful. Destiny, destiny, destiny.
He's got clout.
As I recall, when Naval first heard this album, this was his favorite song initially. I think that might have changed over the time, but this was the one he first gravitated toward. But I'm Cedric Tez. Thank you, ACD, for introducing me to Naval. You welcome.
This is probably one of the absolute most important points. People seem to think that you can create wealth and make money through work. It's probably not going to work. There are many reasons for that, but the most basic is just that your inputs are very closely tied to your output. In almost any salaried job, even a one that's paying a lot per hour, like a lawyer or a doctor, you're still putting in the hours, and every hour you get paid. So what that means is when you're sleeping, you're not earning. When you're retired, you're not earning. When you're on vacation, you're not earning. And you can't earn non-linearly.
You're not going to get rich renting out your time.
Whoa.
Renting out your time. Renting out your time. You're not going to get rich renting out your time. You must own equity, piece of a business. You're not going to get rich renting out your time. Renting out your time. Renting out your time. You're not going to get rich renting out your time. You must own equity to gain your financial freedom.
your financial freedom.
If you look at even doctors who get rich, like really rich, it's because they open a business. They open like a private practice, and that private practice builds a brand. Essentially, you're working for somebody else. And that person is taking on the risk and has the accountability and the intellectual property and the brand. So they're just not going to pay you enough. They're going to pay you the bare minimum that they have to get you to do the job. And that can be a high bare minimum, but it's still not going to be true wealth where you're retired. You're not creating new things for society. You're just doing things over and over. You're essentially replaceable because you're now doing a set role. Most set roles can be taught. If they can be taught, like in a school, then eventually you'll be competing with someone who's got more recent knowledge, who's been taught, and is coming in to replace you. You're much more likely to be doing a job that can be eventually replaced by a robot or by AI.
You're not going to get rich renting out your time, renting out your time, renting out your time. You're not going to get rich renting out your time. You must own equity, piece of the business. You're not going to get rich renting out your time, renting out your time, renting out your time. You're not going to get rich renting out your time. You must own equity to gain your financial freedom. Your financial freedom.
You really just want a job or a career or a profession where your inputs don't match to your outputs. Businesses that have high creativity and high leverage tend to be ones where you can do an hour of work and it can have a huge effect, or you can do 1,000 hours of work and it can have no effect. One great engineer can, for example, create Bitcoin and create billions of dollars worth of value. An engineer who's working on the wrong thing or not quite as good or just not as creative or thoughtful or whatever can work for an entire year, and every piece of code they ship ends up not getting used.
You're not going to get rich renting out your time, renting out your time, renting out your time. You're not going to get rich renting out your time. You must own equity, piece of the business. You're not going to get rich renting out your time, renting out your time, renting out your time.
Whoa.
You're not going to get rich renting out your time. You must own equity to gain your financial freedom.
This song actually changed my life now I think about it. This song changed my life, changed a lot of other people's lives as well. There wouldn't have been as much MEANINGWAVE in the world had I not gone, I'm spending all this time DJing, renting out my time. I should be spending that time in the studio making work that will last forever. Oh yeah.
That you want to look for things that are leveraged, and by leverage I don't mean financial leverage alone like Wall Street uses, and that has a bad name. I'm just talking about tools. We're using tools. Computer is a tool that software engineers use. If I'm a lumberjack with bulldozers and automatic robot axes and saws, I'm going to be using tools and have more leverage than someone who's just using his bare hands and trying to rip the trees out by their roots. Tools and leverage are what create this disconnection between inputs and outputs. Creativity, so the higher the creativity component of a profession, the more likely it is to have disconnected inputs and outputs. So I think that if you're looking at professions where your inputs and your outputs are highly connected, it's going to be very, very, very hard to create wealth and make wealth for yourself in that process.
Buzz. Buzz.
Akira. He's got clout.
People who are living far below their means enjoy a freedom that people busy upgrading their lifestyles just can't fathom. And I think that's very important, like just to not upgrade your lifestyle all the time, to maintain your freedom. And it just gives you freedom of operation. Once you make a little bit of money, you still want to be living like your old self, so that just the worry goes away. So don't run out to upgrade that house and lifestyle and all that stuff. Let's say you're going to pay $1,000 an hour. The problem is that when you go into a work lifestyle like that, You don't just suddenly go from making $20 an hour to making $1,000 an hour. That's a progression over a long career. And as that happens, one subtle problem is that you upgrade your lifestyle as you make more and more money. And that upgrading of the lifestyle ups what you consider to be wealth, and you stay in this wage slave trap. So I forget who said it, maybe it was Nassim Taleb, but he said the most dangerous things are heroin and a monthly salary. I think that's very important, like just to not upgrade your lifestyle all the time, to maintain your freedom, And I think that's very important, like just to not upgrade your lifestyle all the time, to maintain your freedom,
Another life-changing message.
The way you want to get wealthy is you want to be poor and working. And this is, for example, how the tech industry works, where you don't make any money for 10 years, and then suddenly in year 11, you might have a giant payday. Ideally, you want to make your money in discrete lumps, separated over long periods of time, so that your own lifestyle does not have a chance to adapt quickly, and then you can basically say, okay, now I'm done, now I'm retired, now I'm free.
Freedom!
I'm still gonna work because you gotta do something with your life, but I'm gonna work on only the things that I want, when I want, and it's gonna be much more creative expression and much less about money. So I forget who said it, maybe it was Nassim Taleb, but he said the most dangerous things are heroin and a monthly salary. I think that's very important, like just to not upgrade your lifestyle all the time, to maintain your freedom, And I think that's very important, like just to not upgrade your lifestyle all the time, to maintain your freedom.
Yo, what's crazy is I just opened this up on my phone and it's showing underneath this video songs about freedom.
Now I'm
Maybe
done.
That's not that crazy.
Now I'm retired.
The
now
world
I'm
wants to be
free.
paying attention. Maintain your freedom, MEANINGWAVE.
Now I'm done. Now I'm retired. Now I'm free.
Get free. Don't spend all your money on synthesizers.
You're not going to get rich renting.
How
out
many
your time,
bangers? Oh
but
my
you
God,
say
the
that you
bangers,
will
it's increasing.
Get rich by giving society what it wants, but does not yet know how to get at scale.
That's right. We talked about before, money is IOUs from society saying you did something good in the past, now here's something that we owe you for the
How you
future.
feeling out there?
And so society will pay you for creating things that it wants. But society doesn't yet know how to create those things. Society always wants new things. Society always wants new things. Society always wants new things. And if you want to be wealthy, you want to figure out which one of those things you can provide for society that it does not yet know how to get, but it will want. Almost everything in your house, in your workplace, and on the street used to be technology at one point in time. There was a time when oil was technology that made J.B. Rockefeller rich. Cars were technology that made Henry Ford rich. Technology is just a set of things, as Alan Kay said, that don't quite work yet. Once something works, it's no longer technology. Society always wants new things. Society always wants new things. Society always wants new things. And if you want to be wealthy, you want to figure out which one of those things you can provide for society that it does not yet know how to get, but it will want. That's natural to you and within your skill set, within your capabilities, and then you have to figure out how to scale it. Because if you just build one of it, that's not enough. You got to build thousands or hundreds of thousands or millions or billions of them, so everybody can have one. Steve Jobs and his team, of course, figured out that society would want smartphones, computer in their pocket that had all the phone capability times 100 and be easy to use. So they figured out how to build that, and then they figured out how to scale it, and then they figured out how to get one into every first world citizen's pocket, and eventually every third world citizen too. And so because of that, they're handsomely rewarded, and Apple is the most valuable company in the world. First, it starts with an act of creativity. First, you create it just because you want it. You want it, and you know how to build it, and you need it. And so you build it for yourself. Then you figure out how to get it to other people, and then for a little while, rich people have it. Like, for example, rich people had chauffeurs, and then they had black town cars, and then Uber came along, and everyone's private driver was available to everybody. And now you can even see Uber pools that are replacing shuttle buses because it's just more convenient. And then you get scooters, which are even further down market of that. It's about distributing what rich people used to have to everybody. But the entrepreneur's job starts even before that, which is creation. Entrepreneurship is essentially an act of creating something new from scratch, predicting that society will want it, and then figuring out how to scale it and get it to everybody in a profitable way, in a self-sustaining way. Society always wants new things. Society always wants new things. Society always wants new things. And if you want to be wealthy, you want to figure out which one of those things you can provide for society that it does not yet know how to get, but it will want. Society always wants new things. Society always wants new things. Society always wants new things. And if you want to be wealthy, you want to figure out which one of those things you can provide for society that it does not yet know how to get, but it will want.
MEANINGWAVE. Let's look at this next tweet, which I thought was cryptic.
How to get rich.
Interesting about the kind of job or career that you might have. You said the internet has massively broadened the possible space of careers. Most people haven't figured this out yet.
The fundamental property of the internet, more than any other single thing, is it connects every human to each other human on the planet. You can now reach everyone, whether it's by emailing them personally, whether it's by broadcasting to them on Twitter, whether it's by putting up a website they come and access. So the internet is an inter-networking tool. It connects everybody. That is its superpower. The internet means that you can find your audience for your product or your talent and skill, no matter how far away they are. Any niche obsession, people who collect snakes, people who like to ride hot air balloons, people who like to sail around the world by themselves as one person on a craft. Or there's a show about a woman building people's houses and tidies it up.
Clean up your room.
So whatever niche obsession you have, the internet allows you to scale. Now that's not to say that what you build will be the next Facebook, will reach billions of users. But if you just want to reach 50,000 passionate people like you, there's an audience out there for you. The fundamental property of the internet, more than any other single thing, it connects everyone to everyone. Everyone to everyone. That is its superpower. It connects everyone to everyone. It connects everyone to everyone. Everyone to everyone. Everyone to everyone to everyone to everyone. So the beauty of this is that we have 7 billion human beings on this planet. The combinatorics of human DNA are incredible. Everyone is completely different. You'll never meet any two people who are even vaguely similar to each other that can substitute for each other. It's not like you can say, well, Nivi just left my life, so I can have this other person come in and he's just like Nivi, and I get the same feelings, the same responses, and the same ideas. No, there are no substitutes for people. People are completely unique. So given that each person has different skill sets, different interests, different obsessions, it's that diversity that becomes a creative superpower. So each person can be creatively superb at their own unique thing. But before, that didn't matter, because if you were living in a little fishing village in Italy, your fishing village didn't necessarily need your completely unique skill, and you had to conform to just a few jobs that were available. But now, today, you can be completely unique. You can go out on the internet and you can find your audience, and you can build a business and create a product and build wealth and make people happy, just uniquely expressing yourself through the internet. The fundamental property of the internet, more than any other single thing, it connects everyone to everyone. Everyone to everyone. That is its superpower. It connects everyone to everyone. It connects everyone to everyone. Everyone to everyone. Everyone to everyone to everyone to everyone. The base of careers has been so broadened. Esports players, people creating videos and uploading, bloggers, podcasters, and YouTube broadcaster. PewDiePie is the #1 trusted name in news. He's got 3 times the distribution.
He was.
Of the top cable news networks.
Congratulations to PewDiePie.
The internet enables
and Miss PewDiePie, Mrs. PewDiePie.
As long as you're the best at it,
just had a baby.
Out.
Very based.
And the great news is, because every human is different, everyone is the best at something, being themselves. Escape competition through authenticity.
Oh, we're going to be coming back to that.
When you're competing with people, it's because you're copying them. It's because you're trying to do the same thing. But every human is different. Don't imitate, don't copy, just do your own thing. No one can compete with you on being you. It's that simple.
Major key
to who you are and what you love to do, the less competition you're going to have. So you can escape competition through authenticity when you realize no one can compete with you on being you. The fundamental property of the internet, more than any other single thing, it connects everyone to everyone.
Shouts out everyone.
Everyone to everyone.
We in the house.
That is the superpower.
Big up everyone locked in live. We're listening to How to Get Rich Volume 1. 2019, Meaning Wave.
Everyone to everyone.
How to Get Rich Volume 3. Live premiere tonight, 9 p.m. EST. Me and Naval are going to be here.
Everyone to everyone. Everyone to everyone.
Yeah.
Everyone to everyone.
Just Some Humans, what's up? Says so hyped for Volume 3 in a few hours.
Any other single
just a few hours.
Everyone to everyone. Everyone to everyone. Everyone to everyone.
2 hours, 51 minutes exactly.
Everyone is the best at something.
2 hours, 51 minutes exactly.
Being themselves.
How to Get Rich Volume 3. Smash the like if you're not yet. Smash the like. Hit some homies up, let them know we're here. We're pre-gaming.
And normally that would have been useless advice.
I was just doing some sit-ups.
Post-internet.
On the floor. On the cold marble floor. I don't know if it's marble, it's some kind of Mexican rock. What up, Meaning fam? How to Get Rich Volume 1. This album really seems to get better and better as it goes along. This one's lovely, huh?
All the benefits in life come from compound interest, whether it's in relationships or making money or in learning. Compound interest is a marvelous force. You start out with 1x what you have, and then if you increase 20% a year for 30 years, it's not that you got 30 years times 20% added on. It was compounding, so it just grew and grew and grew until you suddenly got a massive amount of whatever it is, whether it's goodwill or love or relationships or money. All the benefits in life come from compound interest. All the benefits in life come from compound interest. Long-term games with long-term people. Long-term games with long-term people. Long-term games are good not just for compound interest, they're also good for trust. For example, you're in Silicon Valley where people are doing business with each other and they know each other, they trust each other, then they do right by each other because they know this person will be around for the next game. But essentially, if you want to be successful, you have to work with other people. You have to figure out who can you trust over a long, long period of time that you can just keep playing the game with them, so that compound interest and high trust will make it easier to play the game and will let you collect the major rewards, which are usually at the end of the cycle. All the benefits in life come from compound interest. All the benefits in life come from compound interest. Long-term games with long-term people. Long-term games with long-term people. So those people have to signal that they're going to be around for a long time, that they're ethical, and their ethics are visible to their action. When you've been doing business with somebody, you're friends with somebody for 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, it just gets better and better. Because you trust them so easy, the friction goes down, you can do bigger and bigger things together. For example, the simplest one is getting married to someone, having kids and raising children. That's compound interest, right? Investing in those relationships. Those relationships end up being invaluable compared to more casual relationships. All the benefits in life come from compound interest. All the benefits in life come from compound interest. Long-term games with long-term people. Long-term games with long-term people. All the benefits in life come from compound interest. All the benefits in life come from compound interest. Long-term games with long-term people. Long-term games with long-term people.
Get rich while you want compound interest. You better be utilizing that compound interest in your life. I'm gonna go slunk some eggs. That's compound interest. Yeah. What if John McGarvey just gifted a MEANINGWAVE membership to Austin? That's nice. Isn't that lovely? Shouts out John McGarvey. What a lovely guy. Regalos in the chat. Shouts out to all the gift givers. Oh my lord, this is a beautiful sound. What a lovely sound. Ooh-wee. I haven't heard this song for a long time.
High intelligence, high energy, and high integrity. That's the three-part checklist that you cannot compromise on. You need someone who's smart or they're heading in the wrong direction. You need someone high energy because the world is full of smart, lazy people. Everyone's smart at different things. So depending on what you want to do well, you have to find someone who's smart at that thing. And then energy, a lot of times people are unmotivated for a specific thing, but they're not motivated for other things. So for example, someone might be really unmotivated to go to a job and sit in an office, but they might be really motivated to go paint. Well, in that case, they should be a painter. They should be putting art up on the internet, trying to figure out how to build a career out of that, rather than wearing a collar around their neck and going to a dreary job. And then high integrity is the most important, because otherwise, got the other two, you have a smart and hardworking crook who's eventually going to cheat you. So you have to figure out the person's high integrity. The way you do that is through signals, and signals is what they do, not what they say. It's all the nonverbal stuff that people do when they think nobody's looking. People to work with that have high intelligence, high energy, and high integrity. High energy and high integrity. High energy. Pick people to work with that have high intelligence, high energy, and high integrity. That's the three-part checklist that you cannot compromise on. I almost won't start a company or hire a person or work with somebody if I just don't think they're into what I want them to do. When I was younger, I used to try and talk people into things. There was this idea that you can sell someone into doing something, but you can't. You can't keep them motivated. You can get them inspired initially. It might work if you're a king like Henry V and you're trying to get them to just charge into battle, and then they'll figure it out. But if you're trying to keep someone motivated for the long term, that motivation has to come intrinsically. You can't just create it, nor can you be the crutch for them. Reading signals is very, very important. Signals are what people do despite what they say. We all know this socially. If someone treats a waiter or waitress in a restaurant really badly, then it's only a matter of time until they treat you badly. If somebody screws over an enemy and is vindictive towards them, it's only a matter of time before they redefine you from friend to enemy and you feel their wrath. Angry, outraged, vindictive, short-term thinking people are that way in many interactions in their life. People to work with that have high intelligence, high energy, and high integrity. High energy and high integrity. High energy. Pick people to work with that have high intelligence, high energy, and high integrity. That's the 3-part checklist that you cannot compromise on. People are oddly consistent. It's one of the things you learn about them. So you want to find long-term people. You want to find people who seem irrationally ethical. That's the kind of person you want to work with. Self-esteem is a reputation that you have with yourself. You'll always know. Good people, moral people, ethical people, easy to work with people, reliable people tend to have very high self-esteem because they have very good reputation with themselves and they understand that. It's not ego. Self-esteem and ego are different things because ego can be undeserved, but self-esteem, at least you feel like you lived up to your own internal moral code of ethics. The more someone is saying that they're moral and ethical and high integrity, the less likely they're to be that way. It's very much like status signaling. If you overtly talk about being high status, that is a low status move. If you openly talk about how honest and reliable and trustworthy you are, you're probably not that honest and trustworthy. That is a characteristic of con men. People to work with that have high intelligence, high energy, and high integrity. High energy and high integrity. High energy. Pick people to work with that have high intelligence, high energy, and high integrity. That's the 3-part checklist that you cannot compromise on. People to work with that have high intelligence, high energy, and high integrity. High energy and high integrity. High energy. Pick people to work with that have high intelligence, high energy, and high integrity. That's the 3-part checklist that you cannot compromise on.
Ooh-wee, How to Get Rich Volume 1.
Don't partner with cynics and pessimists. Their beliefs are self-fulfilling.
Oh my lord.
Essentially, to create things, you have to be a rational optimist. Rational in the sense that you have to see the world for what it really is, and yet you have to be optimistic about your own capabilities and your capability to get things done. We all know people who are consistently pessimistic, who will shoot down everything. Everyone in their life has like the helpful, critical guy, right? He thinks he's being helpful, but he's actually being critical, and he's a downer on everything. That person will not only never do anything great in their lives, they'll prevent other people around them from doing something great. They think their job is to shoot holes in things. And it's okay to shoot holes in things as long as you come up with a solution. Here's also the classic military line, either lead, follow, or get out of the way. These people want a fourth option, where they don't want to lead, they don't want to follow, but they don't want to get out of the way. They want to tell you why the thing's not going to work. And all the really successful people I know have a very strong action bias. They just do things. The easiest way to figure out if something's viable or not is by doing it. So if you want to be successful in life, creating wealth, or having good relationships, or even being happy, you need to have an action bias towards getting what you want. And you have to be optimistic about it. You've got one life on this planet. Why not try to build something big? You've got one beauty of Elon Musk and why I think he inspires so many people. It's just that he takes on really, really big, audacious tasks, and he provides an example for people to think big. Think big. And it takes a lot of work to build even small things. I don't think the corner grocery store owner is working any less hard than Elon Musk or pouring any less sweat and toil into it. Maybe even more. But for whatever reason, education, circumstance, they didn't get the chance to think as big, so the outcome's not as big. So it's just better to think big, obviously rationally within your means to stay optimistic. The cynics and the pessimists, what they're really saying, they're basically saying, I've given up, I don't think I can do anything. And so the world to me just looks like a world where nobody can do anything. And so why should you go do something? Because if you fail, then I'm right, which is great, but if you succeed, then you just make me look bad. You've got one life on this planet. Why not try to build something big? You've got one life on this planet. Why not try to build something big? This is the beauty of Elon Musk.
I'd rather be optimistic and wrong than pessimistic and right. Than pessimistic and right. Than pessimistic and right. I'd rather be optimistic and wrong than pessimistic and right. Than pessimistic and right. Than pessimistic and right.
There's a completely rational frame on why you should be an optimist. Historically, if you go back 2,000 years, 5,000 years, 10,000 years, two people are wandering through the jungle, they hear a tiger, one's an optimist and says, oh, it's not headed our way. The other one says, I'm a pessimist, I'm out of here. And the pessimist runs and survives, and the optimist gets eaten. So we're descended from pessimists. We're genetically hardwired to be pessimists. But modern society is far, far safer. There are no tigers wandering down the street. It's very unlikely that you will end up in total ruin, although you should avoid total ruin. Much more likely, the upside is unlimited and the downside is limited. Adapting for modern society means overriding your pessimism and taking slightly irrationally optimistic bets because the upside is unlimited. If you start the next SpaceX or Tesla or Uber, you can make billions of dollars of value for society and for yourself and change the world. And if you fail, what's the big deal? You lost a few $1 million of investor money and they've got plenty more, and that's the bet they take, the chances that you will succeed. It made sense to be pessimistic in the past. It makes sense to be optimistic today, especially if you're educated and living in a first world country. The one thing you have to avoid is the risk of ruin. Ruin means stay out of jail, so don't do anything that's illegal. Stay out of total catastrophic loss. Stay out of things that can be physically dangerous, hurt your body. You have to watch your health, and stay out of things that can cause you to lose all of your capital, all of your savings. So don't gamble everything at one go. You take rationally optimistic bets with big upside. You've got one life on this planet. Why not try to build something big? You've got one life on this planet. Why not try to build something big? You've got one life on this planet. Why not try to build something big? You've got one life on this planet. Why not try to build something big? This is the beauty of Elon Musk.
I'd rather be optimistic and wrong than pessimistic and right. Than pessimistic and right. Than pessimistic and right. I'd rather be optimistic and wrong than pessimistic and right. Than pessimistic and right. Than pessimistic and right.
Silicon Valley has learned that the upside is so great that you never look down on the Slavi kid who's wearing a hoodie and has like coffee at his shoes and just looks like a Slav, because you don't know if he's going to be the next Mark Zuckerberg or the next Reid Hoffman. So you got to treat everybody with respect. You got to look up to every possibility and opportunity, because the upside is so unlimited and the downside is so limited in the modern world.
Wow, how about that? How to Get Rich Volume 1, pre-listening ahead of How to Get Rich Volume 3. We are oh my goodness, I haven't listened to this pretty much since it came out. Wow. How delightful. If this isn't nice, I do not know what is, brothers and sisters. Make some noise for yourselves. Smash that like, pound that little heart that splashes little
If you want
hearts
to make
across the
money,
screen.
you have to get paid at scale. Why you? That's accountability. At scale, that's leverage. You getting paid as opposed to somebody else getting paid, that's specific knowledge. That's specific knowledge. Feels like play to me. Specific knowledge. But it looks like work to others. Specific knowledge. Feels like play to me. Specific knowledge. But it looks like work to others. We have this idea that everything can be taught. Everything can be taught in school. And it's not true that everything can be taught. In fact, the most interesting things cannot be taught. But everything can be learned. But everything can be learned. Very often that learning either comes from some innate characteristics in your DNA, or it could be through your childhood where you learn soft skills, which are very, very hard to teach later on in life, or it's something that is brand new, so nobody else knows how to do it either, or it's true on-the-job training because you're pattern matching into a highly complex environment. Specific knowledge is the knowledge that you care about, especially if you're later in life. Let's say you're post 20, 21, 22. You almost don't get to choose which specific knowledge you have. Rather, you get to look at what you have already built by that point in time, and then you can build on top of it. The first thing to notice about specific knowledge is that you can't be trained for it. If you can be trained for it, if you can go to a class and learn specific knowledge, then somebody else can be trained for it too. And then we can mass produce and mass train people. Heck, we can even program computers to do it. And eventually we can program robots to walk around doing it. So if that's the case, then you're extremely replaceable, and all we have to pay you is the minimum wage that we have to pay you to get you to do it, when there are lots of other takers who can be trained to do it. That's specific knowledge. Feels like play to me. Specific knowledge. But it looks like work to others. Specific knowledge. Feels like play to me. Specific knowledge. But it looks like work to others. Specific knowledge is found much more by pursuing your innate talents, your genuine curiosity, and your passion. Very often, specific knowledge is at the edge of knowledge. It's also stuff that's just being figured out, or is really hard to figure out. So, if you're not 100% into it, somebody else who is 100% into it will outperform you. And they won't just outperform you by a little bit, they'll outperform you by a lot. Because now we're operating the domain of ideas, compound interest really applies and leverage really applies. If you're operating with 1,000 times leverage and somebody is right 80% of the time and somebody else is right 90% of the time, the person who's right 90% of the time will literally get paid hundreds of times more by the market. So very often, it's not something you sit down and you reason about. It's more found by observation. You almost have to look back on your own life and see what you're actually good at. I wanted to be a scientist. The first person to actually point out my real specific knowledge was my mother. I was like 15 or 16 years old. I was telling a friend of mine that I wanted to be an astrophysicist, and she said, "No, you're going to go into business." And I was like, "What? My mom's telling me I'm going to be in business? I'm going to be an astrophysicist." Mom doesn't know what she's talking about. But Mom knew exactly what she was talking about. She had already observed. We walked down the street. I would critique the local pizza parlor on why they were selling their slices a certain way with certain toppings, and why their process of ordering was this way when it should have been that way. So she knew that I had more of a business curious mind, but then my obsession with science combined to create technology and technology businesses where I found myself. That specific knowledge feels like play to me. Specific knowledge. But it looks like work to others. That specific knowledge feels like play to me. Specific knowledge. But it looks like work to others.
Work to others!
So very often, your specific knowledge is observed and often observed by other people who know you well and revealed in situations rather than something that you come up with.
It's a burp! Ooh, what lovely strings those are. Get Rich Volume 1, Naval and Akira the Dawn, 2019, Meaning Wave, classic. Get Rich Volume 3 premieres in 2.5 hours. Exactly. Exactamente.
Akira. Eastern Cloud.
To the extent that specific knowledge is taught, it's on the job. It's through apprenticeships, and that's why the best careers are the apprenticeship careers, because those are things that society still has
What up, knowledge lover?
train and automate yet. The classic line here is that Warren Buffett went to Benjamin Graham when he got out of school, and Benjamin Graham was the author of The Intelligent Investor and sort of modernized or created value investing as a discipline. And Warren Buffett went to Benjamin Graham and offered to work for him for free. And Graham said, actually, you're overpriced. Free is overpriced. And Graham was absolutely right. When it comes to a very valuable apprenticeship, like the type that Graham was going to give Buffett, Buffett should have been paying him a lot of money. And that right there tells you that those are skills worth knowing. Specific knowledge also tends to be technical and creative. So on the bleeding edge of technology, on the bleeding edge of art, on the bleeding edge of communication, even today, for example, there are probably meme lords out there on the internet who can create incredible memes that will spread the idea to millions of people. Incredible memes that will spread the idea to millions of people. Follow your own obsession. Follow your own obsession. Follow your own obsession. Follow your own obsession. And somewhere in the back of your mind, you can realize that, hey, actually, this obsession, I'll keep an eye out for the commercial aspects of it. But I think if you go around trying to build it a little too deliberately, if you become too goal-oriented on the money, then you won't pick the right thing. You won't actually pick the thing that you love to do, so you won't go deep enough into it. But I think it's important that one not start assembling things too deliberately. Because you do want to pick things where you are a natural. Everyone is a natural at something. We're all familiar with that phrase, a natural. Oh, this person's a natural at meeting men or women. This person's a natural socialite. This person's a natural programmer. This person's a natural reader. So, whatever you are a natural at, you want to double down on that. And then there are probably multiple things you're natural at, because personalities and humans are very complex. We want to be able to take the things that you're natural at and combine them so that you automatically, just through sheer interest and enjoyment, end up top 25 or top 10 or top 5% at a number of things. Follow your own obsession. Follow your own obsession. Whatever you are a natural at, you want to double down on that. Follow your own obsession. Follow your own obsession.
Yeah.
Whatever you are a natural at, you want to double down on that. Whatever you are a natural at, you want to double down on that.
What?
Follow your own obsession.
What up, MEANINGWAVE?
Follow your
WMIV,
own
what's up? Chat
obsession.
Concept, what's up? Dean
Whatever
Foreman,
you
what's
are a
up?
natural at, you want to
Sheila,
double
what's
down
up?
on that.
John, what's up? Cool Killer, what's up? Austin Zumbrana, what's up? Esta canción es mi favorita canción en el álbum How to Get Rich Volume 1. Posible yo también. It's up there. Es alto. Es muy alto. Oh yeah, really for me, I feel this album just gets better as it goes along. Quite intensely. Yo, How to Get Rich Volume 1, 2019, Akira the Don Naval Ravikant. Oh! Yeah, this album really does get better as it goes along. Holy cow. The builder. The seller.
Talking about combining skills, you said that you should learn to sell, learn to build. If you can do both, you will be unstoppable.
Go!
This is a very broad category. There's two broad categories. One is building the product, which is hard, and it's multivariate. That can include design, that can include development, that can include manufacturing, logistics, procurement. It could even be designing and operating a service. It has many, many definitions, but in every industry, there is a definition of the builder.
The seller.
The builder.
Ooh!
The seller. The builder. The seller. The builder. The seller. The builder. The seller. The builder. The seller. The ultimate is when one individual can do both. That's when you get true superpower. That's when you get selling has a very broad definition. Selling doesn't necessarily just mean selling individual customers.
Splash, splash,
It
splash.
could mean marketing. It could mean communicating. It could mean recruiting.
Hey, good morning,
It could mean
Jason
raising
Eva.
money. It could mean inspiring people.
Good morning, Jason Eva in the
Umbrella
chat.
category. Generally, the Silicon Valley startup model tends to work best when you have two founders, one of whom is world-class at sales and one of whom is world-class at building. Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak at Apple, Gates and Allen with Microsoft. There's a builder and there's a seller. The ultimate is when one individual can do both. That's when you get true superpowers. The builder, the seller, the builder, the seller. The ultimate is when one individual can do both. That's when you get true superpowers. The builder, the seller, the builder, the seller. The ultimate is when one individual can do both. That's when you get true superpowers. The real giants in any field are the people who can both build and sell. And usually, the building is the thing that, like, a salesperson can't pick up building later in life. It requires too much focused time. But a builder can pick up selling. If you're at the intersection of these two, don't despair, because you're not going to be the best technologist and you're not going to be the best salesperson. But in a weird way, that combination of two is unstoppable. The builder, the seller. The builder, the seller. The ultimate is when one individual can do both. The builder, the seller, the builder, the seller. The ultimate is when one individual can do both. That's when you get true superpowers. The builder, the seller, 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 the builder, the seller. The ultimate is when one individual can do both. That's when you get true superpowers. True superpowers. True superpowers. True superpowers. True superpowers. The foundation of learning is reading. I don't know a smart person who doesn't read and read all the time. The problem is, what do I read? How do I read? Because for most people it's a struggle, it's a chore. So the most important thing is just to learn how to educate yourself, and the way to educate yourself is to develop a love for reading. Read what you love until you love to read. Read what you love until you love to read. Read what you love until you love to read. Read what you love until you love to read. It's that simple. Everybody I know who reads a lot loves to read. And they love to read because they read books they loved. It's a little bit of a catch-22, but you basically want to start off just reading wherever you are, and then keep building up from there until reading becomes a habit. And then eventually you will just get bored of the simple stuff. You may start off reading fiction, then you might graduate to science fiction, then you may graduate to non-fiction, then you may graduate to science or philosophy or mathematics or whatever it is. But take your natural path and just read the things that interest you until you kind of understand them, and then you'll naturally move to the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. The next thing and the next thing. Read what you love until you love to read. Read what you love until you love to read. Read what you love until you love to read. Read what you love until you love to read. It's that simple. At some point, there's too much out there to read. And even reading is full of junk. There are actually things you can read, especially early on, that will program your brain a certain way. And then later things that you read, you will decide whether those things are true or false based on the earlier things. So it is important that you read foundational things. And the ultimate is when you walk into a library and you look at it up and down, and you don't fear any book. You know that you can take any book off the shelf, you can read it, you can understand it, you can absorb what is true, you can reject what is false, and you have a basis for working that out that is logical and not purely just based on opinions. Read what you love until you love to read. Read what you love until you love to read. Read what you love until you love to read. Read what you love until you love to read. It's that simple. The beauty of the internet is the entire Library of Alexandria times 10 is at your fingertips at all times. It's not the means of education or the means of learning are scarce. The means of learning are abundant. It's the desire to learn that's scarce. So you really have to cultivate that desire. And it's not even cultivated, you have to not lose it. Children have a natural curiosity. If you go to a young child who's first learning language, they're pretty much always asking, what's this, what's that, why is this, who's that? They're always asking questions. But one of the problems is that schools and our educational system and even our way of raising children replaces curiosity with compliance. And once you replace the curiosity with the compliance, you get an obedient factory worker, but you no longer get a creative thinker. And you need creativity. You need that ability to feed your own brain to learn whatever you want.
Wow. How about that? Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Meaning Wave, Autonomous Zone. How to Get Rich Volume 1. We just listened to. I was right. That thing just gets better and better as it goes along. And the last track is my favorite track. I think the last track is definitely my favorite track. I don't know. Anyway, that's what a great record. And it really, really does just build and build and build. And then you go, oh, where is Volume 2? And, this is a bit like when you find a TV show and it's on the final season. You know what I mean? And you rewatch all the movies. Or what we did last week, which is we basically watched all the Mission Impossible movies from 1 through 6 ahead of going to see the new one in the theater. So my little boy, he watched all of them in a very short space of time. As did I. I don't think I'd maybe seen one of them. Great movies. But anyway, I guess this is like that. You know what I mean? Back in 2019, like people had to wait 2 years till How to Get Rich Volume 2 came out, and then they had to wait another 2 years till How to Get Rich Game 3 came out. You got to wait 2 hours and 12 minutes. You got to wait 2 hours and 12 minutes for How to Get Rich Volume 3. The conclusion of the trilogy. Conclusion of the trilogy. 2 hours and 12 minutes. How about that? How are you doing out there? How did you enjoy that record? Any observations? What were your feelings on listening to album number 1 here 4 years later, 4 years after the fact? I still don't understand how my math works. How do you go 2 records, 2 years between each record, but that one was 4 years ago? I still don't understand. Thank you, Soja Tej, for the super chat thing. That's very nice of you. God bless. Shouts out to everyone that supports Meaningwave. We do not exist without you. If you want to support Meaningwave, go to meaningwave.com/support. I think that works. Let me just check. Meaningwave.com/support. Meaningwave.com/support. Does that work? Yeah, it does. Amazing. Meaningwave.com/support. Shouts out to Jason Eva. He made that work. That was one of those little complicated things. Making links work. It's complicated. What up with chat? Disconnecting every 2 minutes, says Sheila. Come on, Susan's replacement, dude. Really, I didn't have any problems myself. I'm sorry that you had problems. Fool killer. Shouts out Jason Eva, Meaningwave, the sheriff on this Meaningwave frontier. That's right. Jason Eva is the sheriff in town. He's in town. And it's morning for him. It's very early in the morning. And he's here. He's locked in. He's going to be hanging around for the duration. We've got our premiere of the new album in 2 hours and 10 minutes. Naval's going to be here. I'm going to be here. Jason Eva's going to be here. You're going to be here. Beautiful. What's up? Forward Balls says, sounds very lovely. Principles shared by loads of people who talk about business and money. That's right. Those principles. Those universal principles of righteousness. Fool Killer says, still as great as ever, though I listen to it almost every week. Good Lord. I haven't listened to it, I don't think, since it came out. There was stuff on there I was like, I completely forgot that existed. How lovely that exists, you know? We're going to listen to Volume 2 in a minute. Volume 2. So Volume 1 was made in Los Angeles. Back when I had a studio in Los Angeles. Basically, the last time I had a proper studio. A soundproofed room with, custom desk and what have you in it. Actually, I believe it is, my wife was saying earlier, it's 3 years to the day that we left Los Angeles and headed to Texas. And Texas is where How to Get Rich Volume 2 was made. It was made in Texas in a converted bedroom, which I turned into a studio. I built acoustic panels for that room. It was not soundproofed, but it was audio treated. I built acoustic panels in my desk, in my garage, in my Texas garage, listening to the Traveling Wilburys and Johnny Cash, things of that nature, the Highwaymen. And I made How to Get Rich Volume 2. I remember very clearly listening to How to Get Rich Volume 2. When I finish an album, I got the masters ready and everything. I'll listen to it all the way through. I'll go for a walk or a run or a ride or something. I went for a run in that instance. I ran down this big old hill and I ran around the lake and I ran all around hill country, Texas. And I remember running up this hill on the way back, and the last song kicked in. I was like, oh, wow, this one's good. This is a beautiful record, you know. So let's listen to that record. I would say we'll listen to that record. John McGarvey says, chat was buggy while waiting for the start, but it's cleaned up now. That's nice. Austin says, Enchanted Dripping Springs. Beautiful place. Weird that we were only there 10 months. Sheila says, LA studio was epic, however, not as epic as the Texas. Austin says, plus dear. Good memories for you, I hope, says Ford Balls. Always good memories. I've been very glad to be alive. I've enjoyed being alive. Jeff the Thermite says, love your music. I listen to it on my walks almost daily. Hey, thank you, brother. Thank you. And yeah, How to Get Rich Volume 3, of course. We'll talk about that later. But that was created here in Mexico. Yeah, here in Mexico. And finally, after all these years, I'm about to have a proper studio again. It's nearly finished completion. It's been being built down the bottom of the Jardin. And the carpet is currently nearly finished being put on the roof. The final bit of roof carpet is being installed right now, you know. Roof carpet is very important in a professional studio environment. 3 different albums created in 3 different locations with one meaning, says Jason Eva. One meaning. David Howe says, I remember your crazy live streams during your move, DJing by the highway in Arizona with random guys coming up to you and getting in your space. That's right. Legendary activities, legendary times. WMIV says, the progression from 1 to 2 is beautiful to behold. Well, we're about to behold it. And then we will be beholding the progression from 2 to 3. And that will be beautiful to behold. So, without further ado, brothers and sisters, let's check this out. Let's do this thing. How to Get Rich Volume 2 from 2021. Get back to the beginning. Coming straight in with that sax. Woo! Make some noise for yourselves.
Akira.
The 5 most important skills are reading, writing, arithmetic, persuasion, which is talking, and then finally I would add computer programming. If you're good with computers, if you're good at basic mathematics, if you're good at writing, if you're good at speaking, and if you like reading, you're set for life. You're set for life. You're set for life. You're set for life. To me, foundational things are principles. They're algorithms. They're deep-seated logical understanding where you can defend it or attack it from any angle. That's why microeconomics is important. Because macroeconomics, a lot of memorization, a lot of macro bullshit. As Nassim Taleb says, it is easier to macro bullshit than it is to micro bullshit. Because macroeconomics is voodoo complex science meets politics. You can't find 2 macroeconomists to agree on anything these days. And different macroeconomists get used by different politicians to peddle their different pet theories. There are even macroeconomists out there now peddling something called modern monetary theory, which basically says, hey, except for this pesky thing called inflation, we can just print all the money that we want. Yes, except for this pesky thing called inflation. That's like saying, instead of limited energy, we can fire rockets off into space all day long. It's just nonsense with the fact that there are people who have macroeconomists in their title and are peddling modern monetary theory. It just tells you that macroeconomics as a so-called science has been corrupted to financial politics. The 5 most important skills are reading, writing, arithmetic, persuasion, which is talking, and then finally I would add computer programming. If you're good with computers, if you're good at basic mathematics, if you're good at writing, if you're good at speaking, and if you like reading, you're set for life. You're set for life. You're set for life. on the foundations. So the ultimate foundation are mathematics and logic. If you understand logic and mathematics, then you have the basis for understanding the scientific method. Once you understand the scientific method, then you can understand how to separate truth from falsehood in other fields and other things that you're reading. So be very careful about reading other people's opinions, and even be careful about reading facts, because so-called facts are often just opinions with a veneer around them. What you really are looking for is algorithms. What you're really looking for is understanding. It's better to go through a book really slowly and struggle and stumble and rewind than it is to fly through it quickly and say, well, now I've read 20 books, 30 books, 50 books in the field. It's like Bruce Lee said, I don't fear the man who knows 1,000 kicks and 1,000 punches. I fear the man who's practiced one punch 10,000 times or one kick 10,000 times. It's the understanding that comes through repetition and through usage and through logic and foundations that really makes you a smart thinker. The 5 most important skills are reading, writing, arithmetic, persuasion, which is talking, and then finally I would add computer programming. If you're good with computers, if you're good at basic mathematics, if you're good at writing, if you're good at speaking, and if you like reading, you're set for life. You're set for life. You're set for life. You're set for life. Business to me is bottom of the barrel. There's no actual skill called business. It's too generic of a thing. It's like a skill called relating, like relating to humans. That's not a skill. It's too broad. So a lot of what goes on in business is essentially just anecdotes. They call it case studies, but it's just anecdotes. And they're trying to help you pattern match by throwing lots of data points at you. But the reality is you'll never understand them fully until you're actually in that position yourself. You can always learn better by doing it on the job. By doing it on the job. By doing it on the job. You can always learn better by doing it on the job. By doing it on the job. By doing it on the job. Even then, you will find that basic concepts from game theory and psychology and mathematics, computers, and logic will serve you much, much better. I would focus on the foundations. I would focus on the science bent. I would develop a love for reading. That is the foundation for your self-education. When it comes to your learning curve, if you want to optimize your learning curve, one of the reasons I don't love podcasts, even though I'm a generator of podcasts, I like to consume my information very quickly. I can read very fast, but I can only listen at a certain speed. And it's hard to go back, it's hard to highlight, it's hard to pinpoint snippets and save them in your notebook. A lot of people think they can become really skilled at something by watching others do it, or even by reading about others doing it. You're going to learn a lot more by operating your own lemonade stand. That is how you're going to learn on the job, because a lot of the subtleties don't express themselves until you're actually running the business. You know, I've learned that tit for tat in Prisoner's Dilemma is the piece of game theory that is worth knowing the most. The best way to learn game theory is to play lots of games. I never even read game theory books. I consider myself extremely good at game theory. I've never opened up a game theory book and found a result in there where I was like, oh yeah, that's common sense. I just grew up playing all kinds of games, and so it's just second nature to me. You can always learn better by doing on the job. By doing on the job. By doing on the job. You can always learn better by doing on the job. By doing on the job. By doing on the job. You can always learn better by doing on the job. By doing on the job. By doing on the job. You can always learn better by doing on the job. By doing on the job. By doing on the job. The doing is a subtle thing. That word doing encapsulates a lot. If I start a business where I go in every day and I'm doing the same thing, let's say I'm running a retail store down the street, stocking the shelves with food and liquor every single day, I'm not going to learn that much. I'm repeating things a lot. I'm putting in thousands of hours. There are thousands of hours doing the same thing. Thousands of iterations, that would be different. The learning curve is across iteration. If I was trying new marketing, changing out the inventory, branding and the messaging, changing the sign, the number of iterations that drive the learning curve. The more iterations, the more shots on goal, the faster you're going to learn. It's not just about the hours put in. The way we're built, the way the world presents itself offers us very easily the opportunity to do the same thing over and over. Really, we'd be better served if we went off and found ways to do new things. Doing something new the first time is painful, and high odds are that you will fail. So you just have to get very, very comfortable with frequent small failures. You just have to get very, very comfortable with frequent small failures. You can always learn better by doing on the job. By doing on the job. By doing on the job. You can always learn better by doing on the job. By doing on the job. By doing on the job. You can always learn better by doing on the job. By doing on the job. By doing on the job. You can always learn better by doing on the job. By doing on the job. By doing on the job. Taleb made his wealth by being a trader. He relied upon black swans, losing little bits of money every day. And then once in a blue moon, he would make a lot when the unthinkable happened for other people. Most people want to make little bits of money every day. In exchange, they'll tolerate lots of low risk. They'll tolerate going completely bankrupt. We're not evolved to bleed a little every day. If you're out in the natural environment and you get a cut, you will eventually die. You have to stop that cut. We're evolved for small victories all the time, but that becomes very expensive. That's where the crowd is. That's where the herd is. So if you're willing to bleed a little bit every day, but in exchange you will win big later, you'll do better. That is, by the way, entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurs bleed every day. They're not making money. They're losing money. They're constantly stressed out. All the responsibility is upon them, but when they win big. On average, they'll make more.
Embrace accountability and take business risks under your own name. Society will reward you with responsibility, equity, and leverage.
To get rich, you're going to need leverage. Leverage comes in labor, it comes in capital, or it can come through code or media. But most of these, like labor and capital, people have to give to you. For labor, somebody has to follow you. For capital, somebody has to give you money or assets to manage, or machines. So to get these things, you have to build up credibility, and you have to do those under your own name as much as possible, which is risky. So accountability is a double-edged thing. It allows you to take credit when things go well and to bear the brunt of the failure when things go badly. But you take risk. That's right. Risk. So you take risk of failure, risk of humiliation, you take risk of failure under your own name. You take risk. That's right. Risk. And the people who have the ability to fail in public under their own names gain a lot of power. People stamping putting their names on things aren't foolish, they're just confident. By putting your name out there, you become a celebrity. And fame has many, many downsides. It's better to be anonymous and rich than poor and famous, but even famous and rich has a lot of downsides associated with it. You're always in the public eye. A lot of our training socially is telling us to not stick our necks out of the crowd. The tall poppy gets cut. Don't stick your neck out. But clear accountability is important. Without accountability, you don't have incentives. Without accountability, you can't build credibility. You take risk. That's right. Risk. So you take risk of failure, risk of humiliation. You take risk of failure under your own name. You take risk. Risk. And the people who have the ability to fail in public under their own names gain a lot of power. There's no more debtor's prison. People don't go to jail or get executed for losing other people's money, but we're still socially hardwired to not fail in public under our own names. Up until about 2013, 2014, my public persona was entirely around startups and investing, and only around 2014, 2015 did I start talking about philosophy and psychological things, and it made me a little nervous because I was doing it under my own name. In the industry sent me messages like, what are you doing? You're ending your career. This is stupid. And I kind of just went with it. I took a risk. Same with crypto early on. I took a risk. But when you put your name out there, you take a risk, you also get to reap the reward. You get the benefits. People take risks. Take a risk. Take a risk. Risk. You take a risk to certain things, you get to reap the rewards and the benefits. You take risk. That's right. Risk. So you take risk of failure, risk of humiliation. You take risk of failure under your own name. You take risk. Risk. And the people who have the ability to fail in public under their own names gain a lot of power. Accountability has a lot of power. My own name has a lot of accountability. Is powerful. Confident. People take risks. Take a risk. Take a risk. Reap the reward. And the benefits. Accountability has a lot of power. My own name has a lot of power. Accountability is powerful. You can't blame it on the steward or the stewardess. You can't blame it on the co-pilot.
Oh my goodness.
You're the captain. You're responsible for this ship. You can't blame it on the steward or the stewardess. You can't blame it on the co-pilot. You're the captain. You're responsible for this ship. Accountability. Accountability.
Yeah, I've been keeping my mouth shut. This album is very, very good.
Accountability is important because that's how you're going to get leverage. That's how you're going to get credibility. It's also how you're going to get equity. You're going to get a piece of the business. When you're negotiating with other people, ultimately, if someone else is making a decision about how to compensate you, that decision will be based on how replaceable you are. If you have high accountability, that makes you less replaceable, and then they have to give you equity, which is a piece of the upside. But equity itself is a good example because equity is also a risk-based instrument. Equity means you get paid everything after all the people who need guaranteed money are paid back. So if you look at the hierarchy of capital in a company, the employees get paid first. They get to pay the salary first. Like in the legal proceedings, the salaries are sacrosanct. If you are a board member and the company spends too much money and has back salaries to pay, the government will go after you personally to pay back the salaries. So the employees get the most security. In exchange for that security, they don't have as much upside. You can't blame it on the steward or the stewardess. You can't blame it on the co-pilot. You're the captain. You're responsible for this ship. You can't blame it on the steward or the stewardess. You can't blame it on the co-pilot. You're the captain. You're responsible for this ship. Accountability. 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 Next in line would be the debt holders, who are maybe the bankers who lend money to the company for operations, and they need to make their fixed coupon every month or every year, but they don't get much more upside beyond that. Now, they might be making 5, 10, 15, 20, 25% a year, but that's where their upside is limited to. And then finally are the equity holders. And these people are actually going to get most of the upside. So once the debt holders are paid off and the salaries are paid off, whatever remains goes to them. But if there isn't enough money to pay off the salaries and the debt holders, or if there's just enough to pay off the salary and the debt holders, which is what happens with most businesses most of the times, the equity holders get nothing. So the equity holders take on greater risk, but in exchange they get nearly unlimited upside. And you can do the same with all of your work. So essentially, taking accountability for your actions is the same as taking an equity position in all of your work. You're essentially taking greater downside risk and greater upside risk. But realize that in modern society, the downside risk is not that large. People will forgive failures as long as you are honest and made a high integrity effort. And so people should be taking on a lot more accountability than they actually are. You can't blame it on the steward or the stewardess. You can't blame it on the co-pilot. You're the captain. You're responsible for this ship. You can't blame it on the steward or the stewardess. You can't blame it on the co-pilot. You're the captain. You're responsible for this ship. Accountability.
Whoa!
Accountability. An example of accountability is you're an airplane pilot. As a captain, you're taking on accountability for the entire plane. Let's say that something goes wrong with the aircraft, you can't later blame it on anyone else. You can't blame it on the steward or the stewardess. You can't blame it on the co-pilot. You're the captain. You're responsible for the ship. If you screw up, you crash the ship, and there are immediate consequences. In the old days, the captain was expected to go down with the ship. If the ship was sinking, literally the last person who got to get off was the captain. I think of accountability as reputational skin in the game. It's putting your personal reputation on the line as skin in the game. Accountability is a simple concept. The only part of accountability that may be a little counterintuitive is that we're currently socially brainwashed to not take on accountability. Is that we're currently socially brainwashed to not take on accountability. Not in a visible way, but I think there are ways to take on accountability where every member of a team can take on accountability for their portion. That is how you get a well-functioning team while still putting credits and losses in the correct columns.
Accountability, How to Get Rich Volume 2. Yo, this record is crazy. I haven't listened to this for a long time. How you doing out there? What's up, Austin? What's up, WMIV? What's up, Love Mike? What's up, Matthew?
Fortunes require leverage. Business leverage comes from capital, people, and products with no marginal cost of replication.
Gimme.
Give me a lever long enough and a place to stand, and I will move the earth. Give me a lever long enough and a place to stand, and I will move the earth. Give me a lever long enough and a place to stand,
And I will move the earth.
Give me a lever long enough and a place to stand,
And I will move the earth.
Leverage is critical. We all know what leverage is when we use a seesaw or a lever. We understand how that works physically. But I think what our brains aren't really well evolved to comprehend is how much leverage is possible in modern society and what the newest forms of leverage are. The oldest form of leverage is labor, which is people working for you. So instead of me lifting rocks, I can have 10 people lift rocks. Then just by my guidance and where the rocks should go, a lot more rocks get moved than I could do myself. Everybody understands this because we're evolved to understand the labor form of leverage.
Give me a lever long enough and a place to stand, and I will move the earth. Give me a lever long enough and a place to stand, and I will move the earth. Give me a lever long enough and a place to stand, and I will move the earth. Give me a lever long enough and a place to stand now.
And so what happens is society overvalues labor as a form of leverage. This is why your parents are impressed when you get a promotion and you have lots of people working underneath you. This is why when a lot of naive people, when you tell them about your company, they'll say how many people work there. They'll use that as a way to establish credibility. They're trying to measure how much leverage and impact you actually have. We just automatically assume that more people is better. But I would argue that this is the worst form of leverage that you could possibly use. Managing other people is incredibly messy. It requires tremendous leadership skills. You're one short hop from a mutiny or getting eaten or torn apart by the mob. It's incredibly competed over. Entire civilizations have been destroyed over this fight. For example, communism, Marxism is all about the battle between capital and labor. Das Kapital und das Labor, right? So it's kind of a trap. So you really want to stay out of labor-based leverage. You want the minimum amount of people working with you that are going to allow you to use the other forms of leverage, which are much more interesting.
Give me a lever long enough and a place to stand, and I will move the earth. Give me a lever long enough and a place to stand, and I will move the earth. Give me a lever long enough and a place to stand, and I will move the earth. Give me a lever long enough and a place to stand.
Give me a lever. How to Get Rich Volume 2, 2021. Interesting year. Recorded in Texas. How to Get Rich Volume 3, 1 hour, 40 minutes away. Austin says, first single to drop for this album, if I recall, Snap My Pineal Gland into place ever so gently. That's right. Yes, it was. Yes, it was. Had a beautiful visual. It's got a lovely fade out there. Listen to that. Wow. Real long fade out. Yeah, that's a nice fade out. Oh, shoot. Leverage.
A powerful form of leverage is capital.
Capital.
Is capital. Is capital. A powerful form of leverage is capital. Is capital. Is capital. And this one's a little less hardwired into us because large amounts of money moving around and being saved and being invested in money markets. These are inventions of human beings that last few hundred to few thousand years. They're not evolved with us from hundreds of thousands of years. So
attack.
we understand them a little bit less well. They probably require more intelligence to use correctly, and the ways in which we use them keep changing. Management skills from 100 years ago might still apply today, but investing in the stock market skills from 100 years ago probably don't apply to the same level today. So capital is a trickier form of leverage to use. It's more modern. It's the one that people have used to get fabulously wealthy in the last century. It's probably been the dominant form of leverage in the last century. And you can see this by who are the richest people. It's bankers, politicians in corrupt countries who print money, essentially people who move large amounts of money around. And if you look at the top of very large companies, outside of technology companies, many, many large old companies, the CEO job is really a financial job. They're really financial asset managers. Deep down, I think we all dislike capital as a form of leverage because it feels unfair. Because it's this invisible thing that can be accumulated and passed across generations and suddenly seems to result in people having gargantuan amounts of money with nobody else kind of around them or necessarily sharing in it. A powerful form of leverage is capital. Is capital. Is capital. A powerful form of leverage is capital. Is capital. Is capital. That said, capital is a powerful form of leverage. It can be converted to labor. It can be converted to other things. It's very surgical, very analytical. If you are a brilliant investor and you have $1 billion, you can make a 30% return with it, whereas anybody else can only make a 20% return. You're going to get all the money and you're going to get paid very handsomely for it. It scales very, very well. If you get good at managing capital, you can manage more and more capital much more easily. You can manage more and more people. So it is a good form of leverage, but the hard part with capital is how do you obtain it? And that's why I talked about specific knowledge and accountability first. If you have specific knowledge in a domain, and if you're accountable and you have a good name in that domain, then people are going to give you capital as a form of leverage that you can use to then go get more capital. A powerful form of leverage is capital. Is capital. Is capital. A powerful form of leverage is capital. Is capital. Is capital.
Songs about leverage, volume 1. AKA How to Get Rich, volume 2. (2001) MEANINGWAVE Records. Shouts out everyone locked in. Big up Rise for the support. What's up, Mason? How you doing? That's right, How to Get Rich Volume 3. Head exploding emoji, quite right. 1 hour, 35 minutes. Shouts out to me on the orchestra. Wow, what a guy.
The most interesting and the most important form of leverage is this idea of products that have no marginal cost of replication. This is the new form of leverage. This is only invented in the last few hundred years.
Smash that like if you got a like to smash.
It accelerated.
This is one of my favorite. This song is so slept on.
It's really
holy cow! I love this song. I don't think it's even got a music video. I need to make a music
video. Now you can multiply your efforts without having to involve other humans and without needing money from other humans. This song is a form of leverage. This album is a form of leverage. Long ago, I would have had to sit in a lecture hall and lecture each of you personally, and I would have maybe reached a few hundred people, and that would have been that. 30 years ago, I would have to be lucky to get on TV, which is somebody else's leverage. They would have distorted the message, they would have taken the economics out of it or charged me for it. They would muddle the message, and I would have been lucky to get that form of leverage. But today, thanks to the internet, I can buy a cheap microphone, hook it up to a laptop or an iPad, and there you are, all listening. This is leverage. This is leverage. This is leverage. There you are, all listening. This is leverage. This is leverage. This is leverage. fortunes are made. All the new billionaires, last generation fortunes were made by capital, but the new generation fortunes are all made through code or media. Now the beauty is when you combine all of these three. That's where tech startups really excel, where you take just the minimum but highest output labor that you can get, which are engineers and designers, product developers, and then you add in capital. You use that for marketing, advertising, scaling, and you add in lots of code and media and podcast and content to get it all out there. That is a magic combination, and that's why you see technology startups explode out of nowhere, use massive leverage, and just make huge outsized returns. This is leverage. This is leverage. This is leverage. There you are. All this. This is leverage. This is leverage. This is leverage. There you are. All this. The most interesting thing about the new forms of leverage is they are permissionless. For labor leverage, somebody has to decide to follow you. For capital leverage, somebody has to give you money to invest or turn into a product. But coding, writing books, recording podcasts, these kinds of things, these are permissionless. You don't need anyone's permission to do that. This is leverage. This is leverage. This is leverage. There you are. All this. This is leverage. This is leverage. This is leverage. There you are. All this. This album, this media, this song, this album, this
Leverage! Absolute classic masterpiece, holy shit. There you are. Yo, shouts out to everybody locked in. Thank you, Steve S. and Andrew Komaromi for the support. Good to see y'all. Bloody hell. Bloody hell.
I think of all the forms
Man,
of
what a
leverage,
two-song punch.
the best one in modern society, and people go, this is glib, this is overused, and this is why I tell people, learn to code.
Boom.
We have this idea that in the future, there's going to be these robots, and they're going to be doing everything. And that may be true, but I would say the majority of the robot revolution has already happened. The robots are already here, and there are way more robots than there are humans. It's just that we pack them in data centers for heat efficiency reasons. Put them in servers, they're inside the computers, all the circuits, the robot mind inside that's doing all the work. And so every great software developer, for example, now has an army of robots working for him at nighttime while he or she sleeps. The robot army is already here. The robot revolution has already happened. The robot army is already here. The robot revolution has already happened. The robot army is already here. The robot revolution has already happened. The robot army is already here. The robot revolution has already happened. About halfway through it, we're just adding in much more of the hardware component these days. As we get more familiar, we get more comfortable with the idea of autonomous vehicles and autonomous airplanes and autonomous ships and autonomous trucks and delivery bots and Boston Dynamics robots and all that. But robots who are doing web searching for you are already here. Cleaning up your video and audio are already here. Answering customer service queries that you would have had to call a human for are already here. An army of robots is already here. It's very cheaply available. The bottleneck is just figuring out intelligent and interesting things to do to them. So the robot army is already here. The robot revolution has already happened. The robot army is already here. The robot revolution has already happened. The robot army is already here. The robot revolution has already happened. The robot army is already here. The robot revolution has already happened. You can order this army of robots around. Just the commands have to be issued in the language that they understand. So these robots aren't very smart. They have to be told very precisely what to do and how to do it. So coding is such a great superpower. Now you can speak the language of the robot army and you can tell them what to do. Now you can speak the language of the robot army and you can tell them what to do. Now you can speak the language of the robot army and you can tell them what to do. Now you can speak the language of the robot army and you can tell them what to do. The robot army is already here. The robot revolution has already happened. The robot army is already here. The robot revolution has already happened. The robot army is already here. The robot revolution has already happened. The robot army is already here. The robot revolution has already happened.
It's already here.
Counting is something, right?
It already happened.
Robots are already here. Way more robots than there are humans. Robots are already here.
Wifey on the chat says third album better be good, Akira. Yeah, someone called Tom Cruise. This needs to be in Mission Impossible next movie soundtrack. Obviously. Yo, craziness. This sure escalated fast from the previous album to this. The Robots, Akira the Don and Naval. Oh! Bloody hell, this record is crazy. Wifey says third album better be good, Akira. Fool killer. Akira has really done a dare on himself this time.
Bob Metcalfe, who created Ethernet, famously coined Metcalfe's law, which is the value of a network is proportional to the square of the number of nodes in the network. If a network of size 10 would have a value of 100, a network
Windows
of a size
95
100
type
would have
B.
a value of 10,000. It's not just 10x more, it's 100x more. So you want to be in a network effect business. If you're number one in a network effect business, you win everything. One of the dirty secrets of Silicon Valley is that a lot of the winning businesses are natural monopolies. What is a network effect? Let's just define it precisely. A network effect is when each additional user adds value to the existing user base. So your users themselves are creating some value for the existing users. The classic example that I think everybody can understand is language. Let's say that there's 100 people who live in the community, speak 10 different languages, and each person just speaks one of those 10. You're having to translate all the time. It's incredibly painful. But if all 100 of you spoke the same language, it would add tremendous value. 10 people start out speaking 10 languages, one extra person learns English. Well, now all of a sudden, 11 people know English. So the next person comes in to learn a new language, probably going to choose English. And at some point, let's say English gets to 20 or 25 people, it's done. It's just going to own the entire language marketplace, and the rest of the languages will get competed out. very powerful concept. When you're picking a business model, it's really good idea to pick a model where you can benefit from network effects, low marginal costs, and scale economies. And these tend to go together. Like anything that has zero marginal cost of production obviously has scale economies. And things that have zero marginal cost of reproductions very often tend to have network effects because it doesn't cost you anything more to stamp out the thing. So then you can just create little hooks for users to add value to each other. So you should always be thinking about how your users, your customers, can add value to each other. Because that is the ultimate form of leverage. You're on the beach in the Bahamas, or you're sleeping at night, and your customers are adding value to each other. Job to obtain leverage. You can obtain leverage permission, taking risks, getting people to work for you, or by raising capital, or you can get leverage permissionlessly by learning how to code or becoming a good communicator, podcasting, broadcasting, creating videos, writing, etc., etc., etc. That's how you get leverage. That's how you get leverage. But once you have leverage, what do you do with it? Well, the first part of your career is spent hustling to get leverage. Once you have the leverage, then you want to slow down a bit because your judgment really matters. It's like you've gone from steering your sailboat around to now you're steering an ocean liner or a tanker. You have a lot more at risk, but you have a lot more to gain as well. We are now living in an age of nearly infinite leverage. Nearly infinite leverage. Nearly infinite leverage. We are now living in an age of nearly infinite leverage. You have a lot more at risk, but you have a lot more to gain. So in an age of infinite leverage, judgment becomes the most important skill. My definition of wisdom is knowing the long-term consequences of your actions. Wisdom is just judgment on a personal domain. Wisdom applied to external problems, I think, is judgment. So they're highly linked. It's knowing the long-term consequences of your actions and then making the right decision to capitalize on that. Judgment is very, very hard to build up. This is where both intellect and experience come in play. There are many problems with the so-called intellectuals in the ivory tower. They have no skin in the game, they have no real-world experience, so they just apply purely intellect. And intellect without any experience is often worse than useless, as you get the confidence that the intellect gives you, and you get some of the credibility, but because you had no skin in the game and you had no real experience and no real accountability, you're just throwing darts. The real world is always far, far more complex than we can intellectualize. We are now living in an age of nearly infinite leverage. Nearly infinite leverage. Nearly infinite leverage. We are now living in an age of nearly infinite leverage. You have a lot more at risk, but you have a lot more to gain as well. Especially all the interesting, fast-moving edge domains and problems, you can't get there without experience. So if you are smart and you iterate fast, even you put 10,000 hours into something, but you take 10,000 10,000 tries at something. If you are smart and you have a lot of quick iterations and you try to keep your emotions out of it, the people with the best judgment are actually among the least emotional. A lot of the best investors are considered almost robotic in that regard. I wouldn't be surprised if even the best entrepreneurs come across as unemotional. There is this archetype of the passionate entrepreneur, and yeah, they have to care about what they're doing, but they also have to see very clearly what's actually happening. And the thing that prevents you from seeing what's actually happening are your emotions. Our emotions are constantly clouding our judgment. And in investing or in running companies, building products, or being an entrepreneur, emotions really get in the way. Emotions are what prevent you from seeing what's actually happening until you can no longer resist the truth of what's happening, until it becomes too sudden, and then you're forced into suffering, which is sort of a breaking of this emotional fantasy that you had put together. We are now living in an age of nearly infinite leverage. Nearly infinite leverage. Nearly infinite leverage. We are now living in an age of nearly infinite leverage. You have a lot more at risk, but you have a lot more to gain as well. Investment books are the worst place to learn about investment, because investment is a real-world activity that is highly multivariate. All the advantages are always being competed away. It's always on the cutting edge. So what you actually just need is very, very broad-based judgment thinking. And the best way to do that is to study everything, including a lot of philosophy. And philosophy also makes you more stoic, makes you less emotional. And so you make better decisions, you have better judgment. You can go within someone's feed and get at least some semblance of what it must be like to be in their head all the time. The more outraged somebody is, I guarantee you, the worse their judgment is. If someone's constantly tweeting political outrage, it seems like an angry person getting into fights. You don't want to hand this person the keys to your car, let alone the keys to your company.
Yo! That was crazy. Nearly infinite leverage. WMIV says Hook is goated. With the sauce. Full blown. This album's crazy. This album's crazy. Oh shoot. Is that a harp?
No one is going to value you.
It is.
More
I put a bloody harp on this.
No one is going to value you more than you value yourself. We're here to talk about wealth creation. That has to be your number one priority. No one is going to value you more than you value yourself. So you just have to set a very high personal hourly rate, and you have to stick to it. Since when I was young, I decided that I was worth a lot more than the market thought I was worth. But I started treating myself that way. So always factor your time into every decision. How much time does it take? Oh, it's going to take me an hour to get across town to get this thing. Well, I value myself at $100 an hour. That's basically throwing $100 out of my pocket. Am I going to do that? You buy something from Amazon, they screwed it up, you have to return it. Is it worth your time to return it? Is it worth the mental hassle? Keep in mind that you have less work hours, you have less mentally high output hours. Do you want to use them to run errands and solve little problems, or do you want to save them for the big stuff? All the great scientists were terrible at managing their household life. None of them had a clean, organized room, or made all their social events on time, or sent their thank you cards. You can spend your life however you want. But if you want to get rich, it has to be your number one overwhelming desire, which means that it has to come before anything else, which means you can't be penny pinching. You can penny pinch your way to a basic sustenance. You can keep your expenses low, maybe retire early and not spend too much, and that's perfectly valid. But we're here to talk about wealth creation. No one is going to value you more than you value yourself. No one is going to value you more than you value yourself. We're here to talk about wealth creation. That has to be your number one priority. No one is going to value you more than you value yourself. So fast forward to your wealthy self and pick some intermediate hourly rate. For me, believe it or not, back when you could have hired me, my hourly rate, I used to say to myself over and over, is $5,000 an hour. Today, when I look back, really it was about $1,000 an hour. And of course, I still ended up doing stupid things like arguing with the electrician or returning the broken speaker, but I shouldn't have. And I did a lot less than any of my friends would. And I would make a theatrical show out of throwing something in the trash pile or giving it to Salvation Army rather than trying to return it, or handing something to people rather than trying to fix it. I would argue with my girlfriends, and even today to my wife. I don't do that. That's not a problem that I solve. I still argue that with my mother when she hands me like little to-dos. I just don't do that. I would rather hire you an assistant. And this was true even when I didn't have money. And this was true even when I didn't have money. No one is going to value you more than you value yourself. No one is going to value you more than you value yourself. We're here to talk about wealth creation. And that has to be your number one priority. No one is going to value you more than you value yourself. Another way of thinking about something is that if you can outsource something or not do something for less than your hourly rate, outsource it or don't do it. Outsource it or don't do it. So if you can hire someone to do it for less than your hourly rate, hire them. And that even includes things like cooking. You may want to eat your healthy home-cooked meals, but if you can outsource it, do that instead. And I know some people will say, well, what about the joy of life and what about getting it right just your way? Sure, you can do that, but you're not going to be wealthy because now you've made something else a priority. Graham basically said it pretty well. You should be working on your product, you should be exercising and eating healthy. That's all you have time for while you're on this mission. So set a very high hourly aspirational rate for yourself and stick to it. And it should seem and feel absurdly high. If it doesn't, it's not high enough. You would be raise it. And whatever you picked, my advice to you would be raise it.
Raise it! Wow, another absolute classic masterpiece. From How to Get Rich Volume 2. Volume 3 in 70 minutes. 70 minutes.
Akira.
Let's talk about hard work.
For those locked in live, Mamadan was talking about the sky, trying to get steak.
Should you work harder?
The sky is MEANINGWAVE. We posted it in the Discord.
People, all the great founders work their fingers to the bone. And they're talking past each other. First of all, they're talking about two different things. Employees in a lifestyle business, which is fine. Your number one thing in life, if you're doing that, is not getting wealthy. You have a job, you also have your family, you also have your life. But Keith is talking about the Olympics of startups. He's talking about the person going for the gold medal, trying to build a multi-billion-dollar public company. That person has to get everything right. They have to have great judgment. They have to pick the right thing to work on. They have to recruit the right team, and they have to work crazy hard because they're basically engaged in a competitive sprint. So if getting wealthy is your goal, you are going to have to work as hard as you can. If getting wealthy is your goal, you are going to have to work as hard as you can. But hard work is no substitute for who you work with and what you work on. Who you work with and what you work on. Who you work with and what you work on. Hard work is no substitute for who you work with and what you work on. Who you work with and what you work on. Who you work with finding product, market, founder fit, how well you are personally suited to that business. The combination of that three, that should be your overwhelming goal. And you can save yourself a lot of time if you pick the right area to work in. Picking the right people to work with is the next most important piece. And then third comes how hard you work. But they're like three legs of a stool. If you shortchange on any one of them, the whole stool is going to fall down. So it's not like you can pick one over the other that easily. So the order of operations when you're building a business or even building your career is first figure out, what should I be doing? What is something where there is a market that is emerging, there's a product that I can build that I'm excited to work on, and something where I have specific knowledge and I'm really into it. And then second, surround yourself with the best people possible. No matter how high your bar is, raise your bar. Because you can never be working with other people who are great enough. There's someone greater out there to work with, you should go work with them. I advise a lot of people who are looking at which startup to join in Silicon Valley, the one that's going to have the best alumni network for you in the future. Look at the PayPal mafia. They work with a bunch of geniuses, so they all got rich. So just try and pick based on the highest intelligence, energy, and integrity people that you can find. And then finally, once you've picked the right thing to work on and the right people to work with, then you work as hard as you can. Then you work as hard as you can. Hard work is no substitute for who you work with and what you work on.
Hey,
Who you work with and
what you work on.
who you work with and what you work on. Hard work is no substitute for who you work with and what you work on. Who you work with and what you work on. Who you work with and what you work on.
Another one. Another one. Man like Ginge on the sax. Absolute classic masterpieces.
This is where the mythology gets a little crazy. People
That's
work
real.
80, 120-hour weeks. A lot of that's just status signaling. It's showing off. Nobody really works 80 to 120 hours a week sustained at high output with mental clarity. Your brain breaks down. You just won't have good ideas. So really the way people tend to work most effectively, especially in knowledge work, is they sprint as hard as they can while they're working on something and they're inspired and they're passionate, and then they rest, they take long breaks. It's more like a lion hunting and much less like a marathon runner running. So you sprint,
Okay.
then you rest, you reassess, and then you try again.
Oh yeah. Oh, Kira the Dawn. Ooh. Yo, we had the Mob Deep breakdown. And I'm glad I'm listening to this. Some of the lessons of this, I had not altogether forgotten, but they slipped my mind. I definitely should take tomorrow off to play Pikmin 4. With my boy and my gal them. Having sprinted this far. Shout out to everyone locked in.
Hard work is no substitute for who you work with and what you work
Shout out to that breakdown.
who you work with and what
Oh man, I'll do more breakdowns.
you work with.
There's some brilliant stuff on this album. I had forgot.
Work is no substitute for
Who you work with and what you work on. Who you work with and what you work on.
who you work with and
What you work on.
hard work is
65 minutes
for who you work with.
till get rich free. Oh my goodness. Yeah, the extended breakdown and fade out. That's hype. That's hype. I give this album all of the Pikmins out of Pikmin. I give this album 100 Pikmin. Fuck yeah.
Akira.
Inspiration is perishable. When you have your
Right, yeah,
inspiration,
another one.
do it right then and there. Inspiration is perishable. When you have your inspiration,
Do it right then and there.
This happens to me a lot with my tweet storms. I've actually come up with a whole bunch of additional tweet storms besides the ones that are already out there. But sometimes I just hesitate or I just pause and then it just dies. And what I've learned is if I'm inspired to write a blog post or to publish a tweet storm, I should probably do it right away. Otherwise, it's not going to get out there. I won't come back to it. Inspiration is perishable. When you have your inspiration, do it right then and there. Inspiration is perishable. When you have your inspiration, do it right then and there. 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 Inspiration is perishable. When you have your inspiration, do it right then and there. Inspiration is a beautiful and powerful thing, and when you have it, just seize it. Inspiration is a beautiful and powerful thing, and when you have it, just seize it. Impatience with actions and patience with results. That's actually a good philosophy for life. Anything you have to do, just get it done. Why wait? You're not getting any younger. Your life is slipping away. You don't want to spend it waiting in line, traveling back and forth, doing things that you know ultimately aren't part of your mission. When you do them, you want to do them as quickly as you can while you do them well with your full attention. But then you just have to give up on the results. You have to be patient with the results because you're dealing with complex systems, you're dealing with lots of people. It takes a long time for markets to adopt products. It takes time for people to get comfortable working with each other. It takes time for great products to emerge as you polish away, polish away, polish away. Polish away, polish away, polish away. Polish away, polish away, polish away. Inspiration is perishable. When you have your inspiration, do it right then and there. Inspiration is perishable. When you have your inspiration, do it right then and there. 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 Inspiration is perishable. When you have your inspiration, do it right then and there. If I have a problem that I discover in one of my businesses that needs to be solved, I basically won't sleep until at least the resolution is in motion. And this is just personal feeling, but if I'm on the board of a company, I'll call the CEO. If I'm running the company, I'll call my reports. If I'm responsible, I'll get on there right then and there and solve it. If I don't solve a problem the moment it happens, or I don't start moving towards solving it when it happens, I have no peace, I have no rest, I have no happiness until that problem is solved. So solve it as quickly as possible. I literally won't sleep until it's solved. So solve it as quickly as possible. I literally won't sleep until it's solved. Inspiration is perishable. When you have your inspiration, do it right then and there. Inspiration is perishable. When you have your inspiration, do it right then and there. 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 Inspiration is perishable. When you have your inspiration, do it right then and there. Personal characteristic, but it's worked out well in business.
Another one.
We squander our time.
Another one. Yo, this album crazy. It's like a greatest hits.
We squander our time with a death of 1,000 cuts.
Good Lord. Yuck.
A busy calendar and a busy mind will destroy your ability to do great things in this world. To do great things in this world. You need free time and a free mind to do great things in this world. You need free time and a free mind to do great things in this world. You should be too busy to do coffee while still keeping an uncluttered calendar. People who know me know that I'm famous for simultaneously doing two things. One is having a very clean calendar. I have almost no meetings on it, while at the same time, I am busy all the time. I'm always doing something. And it's usually quote-unquote work-related. But it is whatever the highest impact thing is that needs to be done at that time, and that I'm most interested and inspired about. But the only way to do that is to constantly, ruthlessly decline meetings. People want to do coffee and build relationships. That's fine early in your career when you're still exploring, but later in your career when exploiting and there are more things coming at you than you have time for, you have to ruthlessly cut meetings out of your life. If someone wants to do a meeting, see if you can do it with a phone call instead. If they want to do a phone call, see if they can do it with an email instead. If they want to do an email, see if they can do it with a text message instead. If they're text messaging, you should probably be ignoring most text messages unless they're true emergencies. One has to be utterly ruthless about dodging meetings. When you do meetings, do walking meetings, do standing meetings, you keep them short, keep them actionable, keep them small. Any meeting with 8 people that sit around a conference table, nothing is getting done in that meeting. You're literally just dying 1 hour at a time. You're literally just dying 1 hour at a time. A busy calendar and a busy mind will destroy your ability to do great things in this world. To do great things in this world. You need free time and a free mind to do great things in this world. You need free time and a free mind to do great things in this world. When you have something important or something valuable, other busy, interesting people will meet with you. Your calling card has to be, hey, here's what I've done. Here's what I can show you. Let's meet. And I'll be respectful of your time if this is useful to you. And I find that there are very busy, important people who will take your meeting, but you have to come with a proper calling card.
Bob City!
All the people who tweet and who email famous and rich people saying, hey, if I could just get one meeting with you, and they're vague about it, they're not going to get anywhere in life. You have to build up the credibility. You have to do the work. You have to have proof of work. If you have proof of work and you truly have something interesting, then you shouldn't hesitate to put it together and send it to somebody. But even then, when you're asking for a meeting, you want to be super actionable about it. Even if you yourself haven't made it yet, you think you're going to make it by going out and networking and doing a whole bunch of meetings, you're probably incorrect. Yes, networking can be important early in your career. And yes, you can get serendipitous with meetings, but the odds are pretty low. Just meeting people and hoping to get that lucky break, you're relying on type 1 luck, which is blind luck, and type 2 luck, which is hustle luck. But what you're not getting is type 3 or type 4 luck, which are the better kinds, where you spend time developing a reputation, working on something, developing a unique point of view, being able to spot opportunities that others can't. A busy calendar and a busy mind will destroy your ability to do great things in this world. To do great things in this world. You need free time and a free mind to do great things in this world. You need free time and a free mind to do great things in this world. A busy calendar and a busy mind will destroy your ability to do great things in this world. To do great things in this world. You need free time and a free mind to do great things in this world. You need free time and a free mind to do great things in this world. You want to be able to do great things, whether you're a musician, entrepreneur, or you're an investor. You need free time and you need a free mind. If you want to be able to do great things, you need free time and you need a free mind.
Well, blinking heck. How about that? Last song won't last long on an album of just straight nukes. Straight nukes. What a great record.
Become the best in the world at what you do. Keep redefining what you do until this is true. Until this is true. Become the best in the world at what you do. Keep redefining what you do until this is true. Until this is true.
If you really want to get paid in this world, you want to be number one at whatever it is that you're doing.
You know who Akira the Dawn is?
Of course, he's amazing.
It can be niche, that's the point. It can literally be you're getting paid for just being you. You know, at this point, some of the more successful people in the world are that way. Oprah gets paid for being Oprah. Joe Rogan gets paid for being Joe Rogan. They're being authentic to themselves. You want to be number one, but you want to keep changing what you do until you're number one. You can't just pick something arbitrary. You can't say, I'm going to be the fastest runner in the world, and now you got to beat Usain Bolt. That's too hard of a problem. But what you can do is you can keep changing what your objective is until it arrives to your specific knowledge, your skill sets, your position, your capabilities, your location, your interest, knowledge, your skill sets, your position, your capabilities, your location, your interest, and then converges to making you number one.
Number one!
Become the best in the world at what you do. Keep redefining what you do.
Until this is true.
Until this is true. Become the best in the world at what you do. Keep redefining what you do. Until this is true. Until this is true.
When you're searching for what to do, you actually have two different foci that you have to keep in mind at all points. One of those is, I want to be the best at what I do. And the second is, what I do is flexible so that I am the best at it. I am the best at it. Until you arrive at a comfortable place where you're like, yes, this is something I can be amazing at while still being authentic to who I am. And this is not going to be an overnight discovery. It's going to be a long journey. But at least you know how to think about it. The most important thing for a company is to find product market fit. The important thing for an entrepreneur is to find founder product market fit, where you are naturally inclined to build the right product which has a market. That's a three focus problem, which is you got to make all three of those work at once. If you want to be successful in life, you just have to get comfortable managing multivariate problems, multiple objective functions at once. And this is one of those cases where you have to map at least two or three at once.
Become the best in the world at what you do. Keep redefining what you do. Until this is true. Until this is true. Become the best in the world at what you do. Keep redefining what you do. Until this is true. Until this is true. Become the best in the world at what you do. Keep redefining what you do. Until this is true. Until this is true. Become the best in the world at what you do. Keep redefining what you do. Until this is true. Until this is true.
Become the best. Become. How to Get Rich, volumes 1 and 2. We just listened to them back to back. Shouts out to yourselves, make some noise. Ow! Yo, bangers on bangers, ridiculous. Good Lord. How was that for you? Radiate me with those wealth creation gamma rays, says Full Killer. This is my favorite Naval track, it's my mantra, says Sheila. Yeah, it's one of mine too. I think my favorite song on each album is the last song. That's a good way to structure an album. Sexy sax outro, says Sheila. Correct. Shouts out to my boy Ginger on that sax right there. What a crazy record. Wow, shouts out to Naval, shouts out to Nibby. Shouts out to Los Angeles, where the first one was made. Shouts out to Dripping Springs, Texas, where that second one was made. Shouts out to all y'all. Shouts out to that TV. How'd you like the TV effects on that visual on the second half? I thought that was quite nice. Zorb says the people who listen to Meaning Wave are already the best. Austin says, whoa! Much applause in the chat. Shouts out to that wave. We're going to be picking up right where that finished with How to Get Rich Volume 3 in 49 minutes. 49 minutes, How to Get Rich Volume 3. Picking up right where that ended. And that's exciting. Well, that came out great. Fool Killer, become a money-making Hulk. Yes, do. That's exactly it. Forward says, yeah, makes me want to try my own career online. Give some hope. Love from Outclan. Shouts out to you. Get after it. Do it. Do it! Epic, says Wifey, with a burning heart emoji. I've never seen one of those. CRTV always nice, says Fool Killer. Ain't it just? Ain't it just? Yo, that was crazy. What a great record. How will the next one fare and compare? You know, compare yourself not to others, but yourself yesterday. And I'm afraid that's what we're going to have to do with this, since those records could be considered to be part of me yesterday. Oh dear. Oh my goodness. Jason Fortune says the Naval albums changed me. How so, Jason Fortune? I hope for the better. I hope for the better. Like, those albums ruined my life. I was very happy, and then I heard those albums, and I applied the logic, and now everything's dreadful. I don't get messages like that. You know, I'm glad, because I bet a lot of people do. You know what I mean? You be listening to certain records, they give you terrible advice, and I hope the people who follow the terrible advice of all those pop songs that tell you to do silly things write lots of angry letters to the writers of those records. They, excuse me, I did that thing you said. It was terrible. Terrible idea. Hit the like button, says Madrax, which is a good point. You should always do that. Always do that. It's something the robots understand. Shouts out to the robots. That's a great song, wasn't it? What was your favorite song on the album? What was your favorite song on the albums? Jason Fortune says, yeah, the albums changed for the better. Changed me for the better. Phew. Jason Fortune says the third album. Yeah, the third album. The third album is premiering in 46 minutes. 46 minutes. 9 p.m. EST. Someone in the chat was going, I think you got the wrong time zone, and freaked me out. But no, it is now 8:14 p.m. EST. Maybe there's another ET and people are going to get those confused. That has been causing problems. You know, I'm in Mexico, and I'd be booking podcasts and meetings and things of that nature. And there's different Eastern times, because I'm in Eastern Standard right now. It changes. I don't know why. And that can confuse matters. It's the premiere is happening in 46 minutes. There's nothing anyone can do about that now. It's done. It's happening. Mike Can says, one pop song recommended Boats and Hoes. Well, if it's a very big boat with a garden on it, like one, they've got those floating cities these days. The Chinese have floating cities. Do you know about those floating cities? They're all over the place, these floating cities. If you ever read The Filth, which is a really good comic book by Grant Morrison, there's a section, a part of that that's got a floating city, and you'll see the repercussions of hitching your mast to a floating city. You know, Arise Stoic says the more CrossFit Akira does, the more he sounds like JBP. What, really? In what manner? You mean the timbre of my voice, or what? My mighty pronunciations. I didn't go CrossFit today because I was here with you. That was one of the things I was talking about. My wife. I was saying to my wife, I was like, we should really do a stream where I play the previous two records. She's like, why don't you? And I was like, well, setting up streams is a pain in the butt, and I've got to go CrossFit. She's like, well, you did go to the gym this morning. I was like, oh yeah, I did go to the gym this morning. I have been to the gym once today, so I guess, not going twice isn't going to ruin the world, Fool Killer says, it's tough thing to pick a favorite. Seems like a chain of bangers, a bop stream, if you will. Yes. Yes, but you still got to pick one. Pick one! Jason Fortune says, I live on top of a mountain now, next to a nice creek. Incredible. As a result of listening to these records, you now live on top of a mountain. Yo, that's righteousness. That's a wonderful thing, isn't it? Living on top of a mountain. It's very cool to live on top of a mountain. If Greta Thunberg is correct, you'll be fine. You'll be chill like Noah. Joe Rooney says, I've run hundreds of miles to both Naval albums. I would imagine that the second one is better for running, but then 80 BPM is good for running, and there's a lot of 80 BPM bops on the first album now I think about it. They're just in sort of more standard hip-hop time. You'll notice that the two albums have quite distinct flavors. That first one is quite a lo-fi, organic, dusty sort of golden sound of a record, and then the second one is very, very high production value, supersonic kind of like fucking Phil Collins people had something to do with it or something. It's very big. It's got lots of strings. It's got real harps on it. It's got real harps. A nice Chinese lady played those harps for me. She's very good. It's got saxes all over it, and then see three is something of a synthesis of all those aspects, and then a third element of its own, so I'll be interested to see how 3 sounds, listening to it after those 2, which I haven't done. I hadn't actually listened to them all in sequence. That's not something I had done. Maybe I should have done it, but I have not. I'm going to be having the same experience as you, apart from that I wrote the songs and I've listened to them lots of times while making them. But yeah. Unstoppable says Piezo Cat. Indeed. Sheila says, finally got the We Are Farmers snip from ATD. Perfect! I don't fully understand what that means. I haven't played We Are Farmers for a while. Listeners of the streams back in the day will remember there was a period where I used to play We Are Farmers by Riff Raff and Andy Milonakis and Dirt Nasty quite a bit. It's a banger. Joe Rooney says, Naval V2 is the Sergeant Peppers of Akira. Wow, that's interesting. That's interesting. Yeah, maybe. It's got a lot of strings on it. I'll tell you what's got a lot of strings on it. Meditations Volume 2. Yo, Meditations Volume 2 has got a lot of strings on it. Meditations Volume 2 is insane. Meditations Volume 2 is an insane record. I've been doing the guitars this week. I've been working on the guitars this week, guitar batching for that record. Currently, there's guitars on every song but one, and I'm currently deciding whether to put guitars on the song that doesn't have guitars. Fucking massive, beautiful strings all over Meditations Volume 2. Been working on the strings. I've written all the basic arrangements. Next week I'm gonna be doing the intense arrangements. I'm doing all the strings on this record. On a bunch of recent records, I've been hiring people to do string sections, and Ricardo has done some wonderful work. He did the strings on Invictus, for example. I'm doing all the string arrangements, and I've done a lot of strings previously. You'll know songs already that I did the strings on, but I've been educating myself on string arranging. I've been going quite deep on string arranging, so there's a lot of very, very deep string stuff happening for Meditations Volume 2. But yeah, Meditations Volume 2 is fucking crazy. It's written, it's demoed. I have demo versions of all the songs, and the demos are so dope. I'm considering releasing the demos separately. Maybe I'll send them to supporters or something like that. Maybe there'll be an addition, a bonus feature. They're really good. They're so good that I just listen to them for fun on the way to walking to CrossFit. I just listen to the songs from Meditations in their demo form. And I wake up singing them every day. That's the record I'm making at the moment, So that is off in the way. But it's really, really crazy record. I would say the difference I mean, it's a bit like when you go from How to Get Rich 1 to 2. Obviously, 1 is fantastic. Obviously, 2 is fantastic. But there's a huge leap in something, right? That's very obvious. And the meditations are something like that. So but it's a sound. So meditations 1 had a sound, and 2 is definitely a continuation and an evolution of that sound. You know. Owen Mitchell says, I was then typing about when Meditations 2 would drop. Synchronicity, baby. Well, there you go. So the next album after Naval is Dunewave. And I can tell you now, it's called Dunewave Odyssey. It's called Dunewave Odyssey. And it is that. It's the biggest sonically, scope-wise, density. It's an incredible thing. It's an odyssey, an incredible odyssey of a record. So that's all done. The singles will start coming out in a few weeks for that. And then after that, it's Meditations 2. You know, that's what it is. And, so yes, a jolly good year for MEANINGWAVE enjoyers. Much magnificence incoming. Turn the muffin strings up, says WMIV. Owen Mitchell says what I already said. Scoops82 says, dude! Yeah, dude! That's right, dude. Danica, voice of Dunewave, was in a studio day before yesterday, all day, being filmed in an 8K studio from multiple angles for the visual aspect. And she sent me through the files yesterday. And they're over 2 terabytes. It's over 2 terabytes of files. I don't have that much free disk space. Right? I don't have that much free disk space. I'm currently downloading them on my remote machine that's in Denmark or somewhere, and then moving them across into Dropbox, and then adding them to Dropbox, but setting them to online only because I don't have enough space. And that's going to be fun. But I'm going to have to be doing it. I'm going to have to work that bit by bit as I integrate those into the full visuals. It looks amazing. She's gone crazy. Outfits and lighting and all sorts of magnificence. You know, all sorts of magnificence. So not only is Dunewave Odyssey the biggest sonically thing, its visual component is also going to be a new level. You know, and that's cool. That's how we operate around these parts. You know, video game CG says 8K is huge. Yes, it's it's not double 4, is it? It's like 4K isn't double HD. It's like actually 4 times, and so on and so forth. Video game CG says get a 16 terabyte external hard drive. Lol. Nah, that's not smart though, because they fail, and then when things that big fail, you're really balked. The storage thing is an ever shifting morass. I'm currently looking in front of me. I've got 5 solid state hard drives in front of me that are connected to the machine, and each one does a different thing. Behind those are big non-solid state hard drives that also do various things. I'm gonna have to get one of those like RAID things. You know, I'm gonna have to get like one of those NASA things that they keep all the moon landing footage that they lost on. You know, Sojichez says so big it has to fail. Exactly that. Jonathan says Danica is how I heard about you. She would retweet you. Well, how about that? Shouts out to Danica and you. And yeah, you can look forward to Danica returning to the MEANINGWAVE universe on a flipping horse. You know what I mean? She's coming back on a horse. Nah, she ain't even coming. It's not even on a horse. She's coming back riding a dragon. In fact, she's coming back riding a sandworm is what she's doing. Yo. Owen says 14 terabyte HD are close to 250 these days, looking to win NAS. Yeah, I got a NAS in Texas. So when I get my stuff back from Texas, I'll get my NAS back. You know, got a lot of stuff in Texas. Got a lot of stuff in Texas, including a bloody NAS that was very expensive, and it's got lots of bricks in it that were very expensive Days bricks. Anyway, shout out to everybody who looked in. That was the Naval experience, first 2/3. We got 1/3 left. Are you ready? Are you ready? I hope you are. Brothers and sisters, I hope you are ready. I hope I'm ready. How to Get Rich Volume 3. Let me have a look at the countdown. Oh, we can have a look here. Hang on. Oh, yeah, she was taking me over. And oh, yeah, it was the sign of the summer. Hey, what's that song? What song was I just singing? What song was that? Shh, not you. Is that Ash? I think it's Ash. I think that song was Ash. There you go. 32 minutes. We got 32 minutes to go. Drop the needle, man, says Loy Mike. No, it's set up as a premiere, and as you can see it there. It's on the channel in another place. So I'm going to drop the link in the chat so you all can jump over there and we can get ready to rumble. You know what I mean? Get ready to rumble. Ooh wee. Ooh wee. Get on over. Will HF says stoked for volume 3. LFG. That rhymes. Full killer dropping them with splash emojis. Mason says wowee. Habits are good. Andrew Kamarami, habits are good. Video game CG, okay then. Austin, sequence, Yogamak, yay. Indeed. We're about to go in on this record. I hope you're going to enjoy it as much as I enjoyed making it. I had a wonderful time making it. And, we'll talk about it again more after you've heard it. I would say, I don't like saying too much about records before people have heard them, but anyway. So hold tight. That's going to be on in 30 minutes. 30 minutes. I'm going to run off and eat a steak. I will be in the chat. Naval will be in the chat if he wakes up. If he hasn't got a time zone confusion. Yay to the gods, says Yoga Mac. Yay to you. By Jove, yay to all of you. Thank you for being here. We can look forward to a return to these gatherings soon as Don Studios, Quintana Roo, Mexico is almost complete. That's going to be exciting. Looking forward to hanging out with you guys on a more regular basis. Got lots of exciting things planned for us to do together. It's going to be great. And I'll see you over at the premiere. Jump on over. Did I post the link in the chat? I think I did. This broadcast should also auto go over there. That should work. We're going to go raid the premiere. Let's get it. God bless.